Yeah.
Check.
All right.
Sick.
Where
We've
you
never
from?
done this before.
You never done a
No,
podcast?
never done a podcast before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of them.
Yeah, about to say.
I enjoy it. You get
Yeah.
to learn something about someone new.
Right.
It's helped me become a better listener, you know?
Sure.
It's helped me to articulate my thoughts better,
Yeah.
to rethink things I say out loud if it's someone you don't know and they're kind of looking at you and like, oh, wait, maybe I should
maybe they
reword
don't
that.
understand that.
You just learn a lot about speaking and
Yeah.
thinking and listening. for
Hell
sure.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so you've never done a podcast.
Never done a podcast.
Well, tell everyone
No.
who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Did I just look this way?
You can look
Just
at me. Yeah, this is one camera, but yeah, you can
right,
look at me.
right. Yeah, my name's Alex Santilli. I'm a percussionist, drummer, and composer here in the city. And that's what I do. I play music.
You play in a bunch of bands?
Bunch of bands. Do my own solo stuff. Drummer for hire. You know, part-time, like coffee barista, part-time, whatever you got to do to pay rent sometimes.
Right.
And that's how we all do it here, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
we gotta hustle to...
How many bands are you in at the moment?
That are actually doing shit, right? You know, that's a funny distinction, right? Probably like 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
And then in total, you could probably, I don't know, you could probably say like 15 or 20.
How many bands have you been in your whole life?
I've never thought about that. Probably close to 100.
Really?
Probably close to 100, honestly.
Wow.
Because I've been in bands for such short amount of times and have done like, oh, come on a 2-week tour, or hey, come to South by Southwest, or I don't know, or play this horrific gig and don't get paid and, you know, have a falling out.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things working with so many bands.
Yeah.
Are the musicians that are like yourself
Right.
that they just pop up in another band,
Yeah,
and then you're
just do
like
it.
you working with you like a band comes in, and all of a
Right.
sudden I see you, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
oh, hey,
Alex is
Alex.
here.
And then like 6 months later, a different band comes in that I didn't know. Maybe not you,
Right.
but this happens. You know,
Could be a totally
It's
different
like,
style.
oh, hey, it's the type of people that are just in all these different bands, and they're always popping up, and they become known as just like
the donkeys.
the person who will play drums or bass like everywhere for anyone, any style.
Yeah.
Kind of will play at any time. Will try anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did people start to? How did you get into so many bands? Like, what is the birthplace of you? Are you from Chicago? First off,
Well, you don't like to say Chicago, right? I was born and raised partially in 2 places. I was born and raised in Elmwood Park, right outside the city, right? And then I went to high school, and I did that in I was in Arlington Heights. So I went to Buffalo Grove High School.
okay.
And then I moved to the city 12, 13 years ago at this point, something like that. I moved out young. And yeah, man.
Just music? Did you try to go to school for music or?
School was funny. I attempted college. I did it for a year. I went to Carthage College in Kenosha,
Carthage.
which is funny. It's like a
Kenosha.
small little liberal arts school. It's a funny school.
I never heard of it.
Yeah.
I know where Kenosha is.
And I wasn't really, I started music late in life. I never did music in school. When I was there, I did like classical snare drum, which is really funny because at the time where I was with music I was just like, you know, taking psychedelics and like playing drums. So I had this guy who was just like, what the fuck are you doing? So there was a lot of like that at Carthage. I did a lot of theater there. I studied a tiny bit of Shakespeare and like opera, and I just kind of put my hands in a lot of things. And then I gave up because I was like, no fucking way I can pay for this. I tried paying for it by myself.
Yeah.
It was impossible.
You didn't want to go to like a cheap, like a state school, something cheaper?
You know, I have a different disposition with American schools.
Yeah.
I hate to just like offend anyone who's going to school. It's good for you, and you should go for certain reasons, like
Sure.
specifically professors or different programs. But I think we're all getting fucked.
I agree with you.
We're getting
and I went through
fucked.
the whole system, and
Yeah,
I teach
we're
at a
getting
university,
fucked,
and
man.
I agree with you.
Other countries got it made. We don't. We don't even learn the right stuff.
No, it shouldn't be as
bad.
expensive as it is.
No,
It's definitely a
crazy,
brutal corporation.
crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
When you compare it, it's really scary.
It's
really scary.
you definitely should not just rely on that for your only education.
No.
That's the thing that a lot of people do.
Yeah, right.
Like whatever their last form of education is, they're like, well, I finished that, it's like I'm done.
Right.
And you shouldn't do that, and you shouldn't do it with college either. It's mostly a piece of paper to show 2 things that you can kind of show up for something.
Sure. Right.
Consistently.
Totally.
And that we now, as a company, can look a certain way when we have certain degrees in the colleges in our on our
Totally.
on our faculty or
Totally.
on our
Faculty
lineup,
for sure. Teaching.
or
for
even
sure.
just like a business that has a really high standards. They might want to have people from like Duke and
Sure.
and Cornell
Sure.
and Harvard,
Right,
especially
right,
like
right.
finance and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. Everything I've learned in college is not nearly as much as I've learned while in college,
Life.
parallel
Yeah.
with it, and
Yeah.
just life, just
shit that happens.
doing things. You're better
Yeah.
off just doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're better off failing.
Yeah.
Like really badly, like doing really bad. Like
It feels like you're talking about a very specific moment.
no,
You're
just
you
like
gotta
I mean everything, right? Like in general, I feel like you're much better off like going for the thing and just totally fucking up.
Mhm.
You know, you have to totally fuck up.
Yes.
You gotta fuck
You
up.
gotta full send it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you were like, this school thing's not for me. I'm just gonna do music on my own.
Yeah, it was that, and it was like not to do like TMI, but like my father had a law firm, and really bad shit was happening, and essentially like a partner of his was like embezzling money through like the mafia, all this scary stuff, right?
Italians.
So, yeah,
makes
but
sense.
yeah,
I'm
but
only assuming
my
based on
father
your
not
last
being
name.
part of that, right, and just like being a hardworking immigrant, you know.
Oh, he
like,
just was
getting
like, I want-
fucked.
yeah.
you know,
So he
he
got
worked his
screwed
ass
for
off.
that?
Yeah, and seeing that unfold and watching my father go through that, I'm like, fuck this. What do I want to make money? What do I want to make money? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any fucking sense. I was just like, I want to play drums.
Yeah.
So I just gave the fuck up and I just started playing the drums like a lot. So it's really at like, it was like I got home, my parents were like, here's rent, boom. And all this shit was going down, so shit was really happening. And it really wasn't until like 23 where I took like drums and music like seriously. Like actually was like, okay, let me practice. So I haven't really been playing for 10 years per se, but I've put in a lot of hours.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
So you've been playing since 23?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that isn't that long.
It's not that long.
You did start
No,
later
no.
than most.
Yeah, but I feel like when
Interesting.
you start at those ages, there's like a potency. Obviously, you have to be like deathly passionate about it, but there's like a potency where you're just like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. Not even like what I want to do. Like, I'm not even talking about work. I'm just talking about like love and passion and like
Yeah.
being alive. I want to live in this other universe where I don't have to worry about all this bullshit because it's all bullshit. It really is bullshit. Everything we do in our day-to-day life to just feel okay to like have downtime is bullshit.
Yeah.
Should I be swearing this much?
No, you can say whatever you want. There's no rules.
It's really bad.
No. I don't care. I don't
Okay,
care what
cool.
you do.
Cool.
No, there's no rules. You say
Yeah,
whatever, say whatever you want.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. I swear once in a while, but
Yeah.
I just grew up in a world where my parents didn't swear.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I kind of like learned not to.
Yeah,
And then
it's a good thing.
it's definitely a good thing. I have to
I was
kind of
around
try.
sailors, literally around sailors.
Yeah, I was not really. No, and it's a funny thing. My friends always made fun of me when I was a kid because I didn't swear.
It's good to be articulate though and speak nicely.
I mostly would just listen. I was kind of quiet,
That's
listen
good.
a lot, but I definitely did not swear. I thought you'd like go to hell if you swore. You know?
Yeah, I'll get it. The
grew up-
guilt.
Yeah,
The
I grew up
guilt.
quite Christian. So
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. But I agree with you on that. That full send into the craft you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the only reason why I wanted to go to school was to like the connection part of it,
That's another great thing.
and it worked. I mean,
do.
everyone the people
Columbia here. That's
oh
like
my
what
God.
people do. They just go,
Yeah.
they meet the people in a year, they leave.
Everything I did with the fest and its growth in like the sound quality and having people like actually mix it
all
was
you had
because
to
of
do.
Columbia.
That's all you had to do.
It was the people I met there,
Yeah.
you know, to this
Yeah.
very day. So it was a good connection thing, but that's probably the third thing. I said the piece of paper, a little bit of proof you can do something, and then the connections you can make.
Yeah.
But when I have students or see students that don't do any of those things, they're kind of just floating in college.
Yeah, no, that's when I
that's
feel
a
I feel
bad
for 'em.
sign.
Yeah, I feel
and that's
for
a
'em.
lot of folks.
Yeah, it's a lot of folks, and they're going into a lot of debt, and
I
it's
know.
crazy.
Like go find something else that works
For
you.
instance, like, to put it into perspective, not to talk about this too much, but
Yeah.
when I learned this factotum from boy, who was he? He was like South American, but he like lived in Germany for a long time, and he was a German citizen. And he was like, okay, like I'm gonna go to school. His schooling from GED to masters costed him 500 fucking euros. 500 euros. That's how much it
Wow.
cost. The entire time.
Yeah.
Tell me a U.S. credit that costs more than it's like a one U.S. college credit costs more than $500.
Yeah, you would have to
It's like-
go to a community college. It's super cheap.
We're talking
And
like a
maybe you'll find that.
serious amount of like
Undergrad and graduate school. for
Yeah, we're talking like a
$500.
serious amount of like
It's very unfortunate.
disassociation. It's scary.
I know.
Anyways,
No,
schools.
I didn't think so much about it until I went I went to Europe for the first time this past summer.
Yeah.
Have you been at all?
Europe,
to Europe?
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize they have massive pros. You know, some
cons.
Some cons.
A lot of cons. Yeah.
But every country has pros and cons.
Absolutely.
But some of the pros they have are massive, like the cleanliness of their food.
Boom.
And its
Number
molecular
one, that
structure
is
and
you.
like what it's doing to you.
That is you.
That's pretty serious.
That's your consciousness.
Yeah. Their healthcare and their education.
Yeah.
The healthcare one was easy though because I was there and I was fortunate enough to go to a hospital. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I won't say
like
the
a
person's
bad
details.
situation?
No, it was a good
Yeah.
situation.
Okay,
someone was born, a baby was born.
wow.
Of the
Amazing.
people I was with, their family.
Oh, wow.
And it was my girlfriend's family.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But
Wow.
it was weird. The hotel was like vacant and there was like no one around and no like doctors. And it kind of reminded me of like a hospital from like the 70s or 60s.
Whoa, trippy.
And you kind of just go in and no one checked IDs, no one checked anything. No one made sure
Wow.
that we were supposed to be there and we're hanging out with this newborn baby. But it's free. It's
They're
all
just like,
free.
no, we need a doctor.
But it's also the type of environment where people don't go in there stealing and shooting and stuff.
it's
So they
not.
don't need any of that
It's
stuff.
totally,
So-
total cultural change.
It's too much.
diffusion.
The culture's way too different for us to even realize it.
Yeah,
Because that's the
we're,
first thing
we're
I
a
thought
young
of.
ass country, man. It's like there's not a lot of time from 1776 to now. That's not a lot of time.
No, we also don't have a very solid unifying like
No.
culture as far as
it's-
how we what we believe,
because
how we
we've murdered
look,
it.
how we look, what we believe,
Yeah.
which is beautiful, but it does
Yeah.
have like social ramifications.
Absolutely.
When you have everyone like a melting pot, it has its own con.
Yeah.
And then it has,
Yes, it does.
But it does have American culture, the music we've
Yeah, obviously.
created.
From intense, right?
my
Diamonds,
God.
right? That's how diamonds are made. Just pressure,
Coolest
pressure,
music.
pressure, pressure.
I mean, it's so cool that people around the world just want
I mean,
it, want to
everywhere
make it.
I've traveled, everybody, it's the only reason I can hang. Only reason I can hang with musicians. I'm like, yeah, I live in Chicago, man.
And they're like, whoa.
Yeah, well, they're
Chicago.
just like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, that's why I can play. Like, I was in Bahia, and they're just like, damn, like you're holding your own. I'm like, that's insane. You're saying that. Thank you so much.
What were you doing there?
I was just studying, man. I was
Oh,
just
wow.
doing I'm a person where it's just like you just have to. It's something I've always wanted to do. I want to know where music comes from, and to me, that's the mother of the Americas, right? Bahia, Salvador. That was the first Salvador de Bahia, the most eastern point. That's where the first slaves were brought, right? Straight across the strait is Angola. It's the closest place to it, right? Angola's right there, so far east, right? So going there, I was like, I want to see and hear what the mother sounds like. You know, one of the many mothers in the Americas. I shouldn't say the United States. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I just went there to just fucking experience it, man. It was crazy.
Did you know anyone?
No.
Just went.
Well, kind of. I had friends who knew some people when we were talking online. And this guy, Beto Martins, which Beto, I don't know if you're ever going to watch this, but he's an amazing drummer. He plays for a very famous artist named Saulo in Brazil. We're talking like Katy Perry level in Brazil fame. I mean, probably more. That's not relevant anymore. I'm so old. That's funny as hell. But whoever that would
Very
be
famous
now.
person.
Yeah, a famous person. I knew him. He showed me around a little bit. I got into a drum camp, actually. I auditioned for a drum camp there, and like, oh yeah, it starts in a week.
Wait, when was this?
This was last January, all of January.
So you went to Brazil.
Yeah, I went to Bahia,
Come
just
on.
in Salvador. That's where I went. I stayed because that's like, to me, I don't have to say to me, it is like the mother of the Americas. You know? It's
Okay.
like where it all started.
You learned
right?
Portuguese at all? Or a little bit?
No, my Portuguese is really bad. I mean, I would just speak Spanish with a Portuguese. I mean, bom dia, irmão, bom dia, muito caro. And I would just like, boa, 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 and then start speaking Spanish. That's what I would do. So
That sounds really fun, though.
it was intense, man. From, everything from like, thinking I was going to lose my life to just feeling the most elevated and insanely spiritual. It's like over there, man, it's like I've always wanted life to be like a musical. Like everyone's just in tune. It's like that over there. It really is. It's crazy, man. I can't.
Can you
explain it.
articulate that? What do you mean?
Yeah, I should get better at articulating this. It's like every person. It's not a question if people are musicians. Everyone's a musician, even they don't do music. They're musicians, right? So people who are musicians, they play everything. They're much better than all of us in anything we do because they sing and play at such a young age, and it's so ingrained in the DNA and the culture. Carnival, all the preparations, the Escola de Samba, like all the prep and all of the lineage from Africa and how just like in your face it all is. I mean, I'm telling you, man, because I would walk around my pandero, which is like, and people don't know, it's like a tambourine, and you play like all that stuff. It's hilarious. Like, people understand what I just said.
Yeah.
Anyways, and you know, you see like a homeless guy like eating out of the trash, but get him out, like let me see your pandero. And this homeless guy, and be like, yeah, that's, you want to learn this rhythm, and it's like everywhere you'd go, everyone's in tune. Everyone can play percussion. Everyone can dance. There's no social fear. There's no anxiety. The like Midwestern thing, it took me a while for even a person to speak to me because I had tentative energy.
Yeah.
So I would go into a bar and obviously like, one, I'm a white person, very clearly, right? So they look at me, they think I'm a Spanish person, Argentinian, or an American, right? They instantly. And the beard, they don't like beards in Brazil. They did not like it.
No, why?
I don't know why. They just clean cut. They didn't like it in Bahia. It was really funny.
Oh, there's got to be a reason.
I think it's just a cultural thing. People just are clean cut and they just keep it.
We wouldn't do well.
They keep it nice. Yeah. I mean, yours okay,
well,
but
I'll let mine get bigger.
I'm talking. It got to the point where, speaking of a guy eating out of the garbage, there's this guy eating out of the garbage. And he looks at me and goes, "Hermano, la barba. No, mucho feo, mucho feo." You just be like, "It's so ugly, your beard." Like,
oh my God.
This homeless man eating out of a garbage can. So that's how it was, man.
Beards are no bueno.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember where I was going with all that. But
Oh, we were talking about the music being in tune, the people learning it from a young age.
Right.
Everyone plays instruments.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something like almost lost your life or something dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's Brazil, right? It's Bahia. It's a different culture. And here I am. I don't want anyone to like hear this story and be like, I'm not going to Brazil. It's like, you very much should. I did something you shouldn't do. But it was like hour one into me being there, my first day ever in Brazil. I was staying at this, I got really fortunate. I stayed at this Airbnb, and the mom was from Argentina who ran this Airbnb, and the dad was like Baiano, like he's a musician. His kids, they didn't believe in TV. It's just a beautiful place to be. And I don't know how it was an Airbnb. It was more like a artist, like getaway. I don't know how to explain it. These people are incredible. But essentially, I'm walking. It's my first day. I'm in Pelourinho. For those that don't know, that's like the old neighborhood in Salvador. So it looks insane. It's so old. It's cobblestone. It's out of a damn movie. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm in awe. I'm walking around. And I remember her saying something in Spanish like, you know, don't go down the hill. Like if you're in lower elevation, you're in a dangerous place. So you need to be careful. So me, you know, when I get in my adventure mode, the road less traveled is really like, I'm all about it. You know, like I'm going to do it. Because I'm like, no, you just go with good intention. It's going to be okay. And, you know, it wasn't. And I somehow got into low elevation. I remember I got off this path. It wasn't a road anymore. And then I get in this like little downtown area that's like a little lower in elevation. And I see this road that is going back up. And I'm like, oh, I could probably get back up. And it would be a cool little adventure. But it's two-lane highway. And there's a big clearing. And you could see all the islands. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta walk over there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine how beautiful. I mean, it's like a tropical paradise times 100 what you could even imagine. Really insane looking place. And so I'm walking. I start to get that like Chicago Spidey sense. I'm like, oh man, like I really should not be doing this. But I'm like, no, just do it. And man, I get to this clearing. I'm an idiot. I pull out my phone real quick. I had to take a photo. Put my phone away. There wasn't anyone around. I'm walking. I see this guy my age. I'm walking up. He's walking the other side of the street. Within less than 2 seconds, he's like beelined it to me. And I know, I blacked out, but I just felt cold steel on my forehead. And he just got me by, you know, like this. And I'm just like, and I don't know what happened. I got out of his grip. I ran away. And I ran in the middle of the 2-lane highway. This car comes to a screeching halt. This guy starts screaming in Portuguese at me. I don't know what's going on. I start sprinting. But instead of me feeling like angry, I was telling him in Spanish, like, hermano, te amo, I love you. Like, I understand. Like, you know, I'm in your neighborhood. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, I'm a white boy, gringo, like in Bahia, like here, like being an idiot. And I remember just like sprinting to safety and just like crying profusely, just being like, man, like, that's my dude right there. I know he tried to rob me, but like, I would too if I was him.
Did he hit you?
No, maybe. I don't think so.
You don't know?
No, I don't think so.
When you say
I really blacked out.
I thought you meant you got
like
hit.
No, like fight or flight.
Fear.
just
Wow.
took over, man. And all I remember is his face and just this, and I just broke out of it, and I just sprinted, man.
Was there anybody else around?
No, except that car. That
Wow.
car that came to a screeching halt. That probably might have saved me. I don't know. Who knows what he
He
really
was
had? Who
trying to
knows if it was
rob
really
you,
a gun?
take
Maybe it
something
was
from
just
you?
like a piece of steel. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, so that was my first hour in Brazil.
Anything else crazy happen after that?
I mean, then it just turned extremely beautiful, right?
Get
I
it
mean,
out of the-
and
get it out of the way,
It
bad
was a
stuff.
beautiful experience, though. Like, I know a lot of people are like, man, like that's, but you got to think about how this man's living. And here I am walking around in his neighborhood taking a fucking selfie with a phone that'll feed his family for how many months? Maybe the whole year.
If they can get into it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you can't really get into
But
it.
it's like, I don't have any, like, that's my dude right there.
Yeah.
Like, whoever he is, like, I salute, you know? But, you know, I gotta wait.
Did you learn to just walk around with like no items?
Yeah, you just learn how to like kind of like you just learn
Dance as you
yeah,
may.
you kind of like it's actually
For
really
for
kind
those
of
who can't see, who are just
yeah,
listening, he's
yeah,
dancing
yeah,
as he's learning
yeah.
how to just get through Brazil.
yeah, exactly,
You shake
exactly.
through it, you dance
and
through it.
walking with a pandeiro in Brazil is a good idea because everywhere you go, you're playing. It like deflects any danger.
If you're playing
The
music.
Brazilians are just like, yeah, like, let's fucking go. Or like, let me see, I'll teach you this. Like, oh, do you know this? And it's just like, you know. But all that to say, that was the start of a beautiful adventure,
Yeah.
you know. And then it like, you know, the next day, like I tell the mom Marta at the house at Airbnb, she's like, oh my God. And she's like, tomorrow you're going to the Terreiro. The Terreiro is where the Afro-Brazilians practice their religion called candomblé or ubanya, but really candomblé, that's like what's famously known as. So here I am. She calls this guy. I don't know this man. He speaks a little English, so we're doing okay. It's like the next day, he picks me up in this car. He's like, you know, you got to wear all white. And he takes me in the middle of the most dangerous favela. And I was like, man, I just went through. He's like, no, man, this is about to be a very peaceful, beautiful thing about the experience. And so they took me to this ceremony. Actually, I should correct myself. It wasn't candomblé. It's caboclo, which is the indigenous Indian version mixed with some African ideology that's part of candomblé, but really intense. Essentially, the ceremony was all about cleansing bad spirits out of you. Obviously, I had a horrible, you know, whatever. Bad thing happened to me, some people would say. And, you know, here I am just like in this terreiro, and I'm just getting cleansed by these priestesses who are under, they're mediums. So they're under possession, right? Good possession, right? And they're cleaning me, and they're doing this whole ceremony, and it was so intense because you're not allowed to wear glasses. So, and I'm like almost legally blind. So here I am. I'm getting brought up by the
Is
priest.
part of the spiritual experience just having a headache because you can't see?
Maybe. But I mean, we're talking like full on people just like being, you know, under. And that's like what they've been doing. You know,
Are
their
they
whole
are
lives.
they on any? Are they doing
No,
anything?
no,
Just
drugs are not allowed.
Okay.
Drugs are not allowed.
Okay.
It's all music, obviously, you know, all that music, it's heavy, and they just get entranced. And I was being cleansed by this woman, and it was crazy, you know. And yeah, a lot happened, man. And
did it feel like it?
yeah,
did
it
something?
really did. I mean, I've never felt that before, you know. And right after that, my trip just turned into just incredible. You know, I think I had this American disposition where I was like, I need to go find music. Well, you're in fucking Salvador. You don't need to find music.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
It is music.
anyways, all that to say is like, you know, people should adventure. People should not be afraid to like, you know, go do that. We got on a
Yeah.
lot of tangents.
No,
but
I mean that's amazing because, I mean I've never been in Brazil. I don't know too much
Yeah.
about the culture and the history there.
Yeah.
I know enough, but not that much. So it's cool to hear stories like that. I don't
Yeah.
know many people who have been there, especially to play music or to study music.
Yeah.
So you were there for a month just studying in that town?
in that city, yeah, I was just there. I mean, I did that drum camp, so I met but that was really learning. The drum camp was really like carnival music, samba duro, like when you see the parades. You know, people play the butinas, all that shit, you know,
Yeah.
the big loud stuff. So I was really doing that in this camp. But then when I'd get off of the camp, I'd go to like a gig, or I'd go like to a jam session, or I'd go to another terreiro, and I'd go learn about, you know, more of the African religious music, which I have the most interest in. So I was doing a lot of that, man. A lot of going to the beach, bringing the pandeiro. It's like beautiful people everywhere, being like, oh yeah, you know. I met a friend through my friend Beto. I was talking about Saulo, didn't speak a lick of English, didn't understand a lick of Spanish, but we just only spoke through the drums together. And he would just take me around, you know, and it was cool. I don't know if you know Yusef Days, that musician. He's a London drummer.
I don't think I do. No.
He's, you know, famous guy. He was like, Beto knew some of the guys in the band. He's like, oh, let's go. And, you know, we go to the show, and I end up meeting the percussionist, Alex. And, like, we just are hanging out. I'm like, dude, like, you're the percussionist in one of my favorite bands. And then as I'm walking around Salvador, you know, I bumped into Shabaka Hutchins, who's like a amazing jazz flautist and saxophone player. Doesn't play the saxophone anymore. And, you know,
living down there or visiting?
He's just there because it's the month before Carnival, so everyone's prepping. So here I am realizing that like all the really deep cut musicians, they just pull up here to like just be like bear witness and just learn, because it's heavy. It's heavier than heavy. I mean, it's like. And I went there because eventually I want to, you know, do the, you know, I want to go to West Africa. I want to do those trips. But I was like, where's the closest I can get? And in the Americas, that's the closest you can get.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So West
also
Africa.
New Orleans, you know, also.
New Orleans.
Of course.
Is...
Also Montevideo, like places like that have really heavy carnival culture. And I did all 3 of those last year, which was really cool.
Have you ever been to Mexico?
I have.
You've performed there?
I've played some music. The year before last, 2 years ago, I lived in Mexico City for a month and a half.
Really? I love Mexico City.
Yeah, me too.
I went there. I have family there.
Cool.
And I went, and my grandpa's from there, and I went there last year. I'm going again this year, record bands, hang out, meet family, stayed at my grandpa's place that I never went to.
Beautiful.
It was cool. Very old school, like mosaic, all stone.
What neighborhood does he live in?
I don't remember the neighborhood he lived in, to be honest.
Coyoacán? Sounds like Coyoacán.
It was beautiful, but it was like, it wasn't very high end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was not where tourists go.
Look, that's nice.
Which
that's
I liked.
That's how it should be in Mexico City, man.
I liked it a lot.
Because people do too much. They go to Roma, they go to La Condesa. They're like, this is great. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's not, actually.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Those places are cool to
it's cool.
see.
It's cool to grab a coffee
but
and
keep
like
going.
feel like you're in LA. But
that's how I felt in Roma.
Yeah.
It was the one place we went to.
I spoke more Italian in Roma than I did in Spanish. It was fucked up. When that started happening, I was like, I gotta stop. And then I like literally got an Airbnb in Centro, and I was like, I'm living in Centro, and that was insane.
So you studied music there as well?
Kind of. I had some people there. I had some friends. I had a friend who's an amazing artist and musician who like essentially I stayed with for the first 3 weeks I was there, and I did a record with him. Then I met a bunch of people, and I would like pull up to the jazz jam, and like, you know, I played once and everyone's like, oh my God, like we should play. And then it just ended up, I'd just get, you know, thrown into different.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of tourist shit too. Like,
well, how could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, I went all over the place too.
Yeah.
But then luckily the people I was with, the band I was with, they have friends and family there. So their friends and family were bringing them to their family restaurants in their neighborhood.
The
so
food.
we barely,
don't get started. It's everywhere. One street.
8 tacos.
600
my
options.
rule was 8 tacos a night. I had to have 8 tacos every night.
Oh yeah.
Like
I never
60
had a meal.
cents.
It was like 100 small meals all day long.
And for those wondering, a month and a half Mexico City, Airbnb is not that much money.
No, it's not.
It's so cheap
It's
there.
very cheap.
It's unfortunate because going there, everyone thought I was rich, and I'm like,
no,
I'm struggling here. I go there, and I'm like, if everyone thought I had a lot of money, just because I had equipment.
Until you try to work as a musician in Mexico City, and you see how much you get paid, and then you go, holy shit, how are these guys surviving? It's crazy.
And it was goofy though. Yeah. Their culture with it is different than here. Like
totally different.
Say I reached out to you,
right,
to come from Mexico to come here to record bands in Chicago,
right?
How hard would it be for you to supply a drum kit, drumsticks, guitar? You'd be able to supply everything, right?
Oh my God,
there. You had to rent everything, not from a company, but from the same people you're working with.
Right.
And you'd be like, oh, we need one drumstick, 50 pesos. You're like, dude, it's in your hand. We're like collaborating. I don't understand. Everything, because they don't make anything.
They don't make anything.
So
everything,
it's tedious.
It's tedious.
But it's not a lot of money. It's like $1 here, 50 cents here.
Right.
But it was like, I need a power adapter. They're like, 100 pesos. You're like, dude, you're turning $5 for this right now. Like, it's plugged into the wall. I'm just asking if I could use it. Like, so it wasn't anything personal. It wasn't that they didn't like us.
It's just the culture.
Just the culture. And I'm not used to here. I'm used to like, I'll supply this. We'll trade that. Don't worry, guy. You just drop it off next weekend. Like you can borrow the drum kit. I don't know. It's never hard in America for me to go to a city and do like a DIY thing and have everyone collaborate and bring all their gear.
Hit up Instagram or like, yo, I need some help.
It's so
I know.
But it's different. And I loved it though. That's awesome. You're there for that long.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Just went to. Try it
Again,
out?
I just was just like, I need to.
So you've done this a few times in other countries.
Well, yeah. Well, it was like, yeah. I like that was the year where I was like, I don't care how much it costs. Like to anyone listening who like wants to do music abroad, the way you do it is you just fucking go and do it out of pocket.
Yeah.
And then eventually, somehow, people
Yeah.
start paying you for it, or you end up on a tour. Like I swear, it's like right when I started doing that, it just all started to like happen a little.
But you have that constitution though. If you don't have that to like wing it and be
yeah.
okay with the front end suffering,
Oh yeah,
maybe sleeping on the ground, sleeping on someone's floor you don't know.
And the key to all of this is being by yourself.
Yes,
Being by yourself.
took the words from
you
my
won't
mouth.
learn anything unless you're by yourself, and you won't experience real terror, and you won't experience real, pure, unfiltered joy unless
Yeah.
you're alone. And I hate to say it.
It's true.
And I love my partner, but it's just like, it's just true.
I
you
couldn't
have to
agree
be
more.
alone in those situations. And by you, when I was alone, I've never felt that alone. And when I wasn't alone, I've never felt that cared for before in my entire life. Yeah. It's crazy.
But you also don't have to worry about anything.
No, there's no one holding you down. There's no one's energy
when
that's
you're with
just
another
like,
person, especially
they're like,
someone
I don't
you're-
know. They're like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, the
Eat it.
places I'd say I'd sleep at, I don't expect her to say that. I
No.
get it.
No.
You're not me, and
Yeah.
you don't look like me,
Right.
and you're not my size. You don't have my
Right.
experiences in life,
Totally.
so I don't have as much fear. I mean, the fear alone would keep me up at night if I was like
Absolutely.
a petite lady roaming around
Oh,
foreign countries.
Mexico? Yeah. And
Terrified. I'd be like, don't
terrified.
go. Don't
Absolutely. No, see, yeah, exactly. And that's good to point out. Like, privilege is talking here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're like men talking about traveling by ourselves.
But do you
know?
feel like, yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with that, though, that because you're aware of it, this is what
Yeah.
I always say out loud and tell
Yeah.
myself, because I'm aware that I have that much more of an edge to be able to do it,
Right.
I'm doing it for those who can't and trying to open it up for them. And then if I can't, bring back that stuff for them and educate them.
Totally.
Because maybe they can. That's how I felt
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I knew I could
How
do
many
it.
there are, that's crazy.
I was like, I'm like, I have to do it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
beholden to it because I have the right
You got
yard,
the resources.
the
it's all
right
here.
neighborhood, the right family, the right police that are cool, like the right everything. I'd be
Yeah,
a fool to squander this rare thing where I have the right opportunity to do something more for
Yeah,
everyone.
man.
Because other people don't have. Some kids grow up in apartments. They don't have a yard.
No.
They cannot do a backyard festival.
Can't play drums.
Never. No.
Yeah.
Can't
I mean,
play
they
drums.
could.
I had all that space. I was like, I should probably use this space.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to have this space. I should probably do something with it and like give it to people who can never have a space this big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Due to something that's not their fault.
Yeah.
Might as well share it.
Right.
So yeah, I do the traveling so I can bring that music back so I can try to open it. Maybe make it more safe so next time I go with someone,
Yeah.
I know better what to do and make it safer. for them.
Totally.
Whatever it is, doing it for not just yourself.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's crazy. Traveling, man.
It's
It's a
fun.
beautiful thing.
So you did Brazil, Mexico, any other places?
I did some of Argentina. On that South America trip, my family actually went to Argentina. So I was like, I met them in Argentina.
Nice.
And my dad was born in Buenos Aires. So we
Oh,
like,
okay.
I saw like the house my grandfather built when he
So he's Argentinian?
Well, yeah. But Argentinians, as you know, my grandparents came from Italy.
Okay.
Fled the war separately. Fled to Buenos Aires. Met in Buenos Aires. Had a family. My dad was born there.
Mm.
And then, before my dad came to the United States, they like went to Italy a few times. And then they were like in Italy. And then they came here.
So both Italians and Germans both went to Argentina.
Mm-hmm. All the Axis powers. That's a whole other thing you could open up. And that's
could say the fascists
Yeah, really like yeah, going to yeah. Argentina. I mean,
Hey, my brother's wife and
all
family's
of them.
all from Argentina. So,
all of them.
And they're all
over,
very,
all
very
over South America, man. Brazil
they're all
too.
quite Caucasian.
Yes.
They look German.
Yeah, it's because
very
they
German.
are.
They are
and
German.
it's
They're very German.
crazy. So that's a whole other discussion. I could get into so much about that.
Please
but that's,
do.
that's
I mean, if
a
it's part
crazy
of your
thing.
family, it's good to hear it from the source.
Like kind of yes and no. Like there's like it's just an interesting thing. Like my grandfather, there's like these lores about him about like somehow he was a part of like Eichmann was found in Buenos Aires. Apparently like he had he knew where he was. And like not in like I know him, just like I recognize. I think that's who that is. And I think
Your grandpa's from Italy?
my grandpa, yeah. And so the tall tale is that he informed someone at Mossad that was looking for him, Israeli, sent counterintelligence to find these criminals from the Holocaust and bring them to justice. And then, sure enough, they did.
Whoa. And
And yes, this is at the same time when the military juntas came in and my grandfather had a successful construction company. His bank went from upper middle class. My dad grew up pretty nice in Argentina to zero.
Oh, was this in the 70s, 80s? They did that?
Yeah, and that's what it was horrible, right?
Had their own fascist problem.
It was horrific, right?
Yeah.
People were disappearing, like 30,000 people disappeared. They're dropping people from airplanes into the ocean. So they fled, obviously.
Again.
They fled again.
Yeah.
So my dad's side's wild because they had to deal with World War II, fascism in both ways. And then they came here. And my grandparents were like, we're not fucking learning English. Fuck this. And they played a big role in raising me because I'd be with them during the day.
Okay.
My parents
So
would work
did you
like
learn any
6,
Italian?
7. Oh, yeah. So I grew up speaking Italian, grew up speaking Spanish.
Oh, okay. I'll say your Spanish is good.
My Spanish is good. Yeah.
I could tell by your accent because I did not grow up speaking Spanish. My dad was of the generation that got here.
Oh, yeah. And they're like,
in the
we assimilate.
50s, and they're like,
Not big time assimilation.
especially in the South Side in the 50s, and
Yeah,
you're
how
a brown
could you?
man.
How could you not? You're gonna deal with some.
It was
bullshit.
bad. His stories are like, it has explained so much about him.
Yeah,
And
it's all perspective.
He had a crazy, crazy upbringing,
I bet.
and just saw race riots. He watched Martin Luther King walk past his house on Western Avenue in 1965 when he was like 10.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's seen. He was there during the segregation when they were separate,
Right.
and then when the buses came in, everyone mixed, and he like watched buses getting flipped over, set on fire.
Wow.
He was responsible for running through like the alleys and bringing all his younger siblings to class and dropping them off, and he would like hide because he was Mexican, very brown, has an accent, isn't white, isn't black,
Right.
but like
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, didn't
Jeez.
learn much. So
Jeez.
his
Yeah.
academic education is not great. His streets smart
yeah.
and like experience education
Genius.
is crazy.
Yeah,
His
I
stories
bet.
are wild.
I bet.
Getting
I bet.
jumped, getting this, getting
Yeah.
that, fight this, just cops that, just
Wow.
crazy stories.
And here we are in Bridgeport.
Yeah, and then Bridgeport, and yeah, when my neighbors when I first moved here and I
Yeah.
told them where my
Yeah.
dad grew up in
Yeah,
Gage
yeah.
Park, back of the yards, they instantly loved me. I was like, yeah, he worked at Ryerson Steel for 40 years.
Yeah, it's a thing around here.
Oh, they loved
It's
it
a
because
thing around here.
she worked at the steel place. They
Yeah,
worked here. So the second
cool down
you
here,
say
man.
you have any of those connections, they love you.
Yeah, it's nice being down here. I like it down here, man. It's nice.
You living up in Ukrainian Village. It's not that far from here, right?
No, it's not too far.
It's a different vibe, though.
totally different vibe.
There's
Yeah.
much a
I like it.
neighborhood.
It's changing a lot. I've been there 10 years, so I've seen it change a lot.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that I can walk one way, I speak Spanish, and then I walk another way, I don't speak Ukrainian or Polish, but it's just all Ukrainian and Polish. And
Yeah.
It's cool that it's just right there, but it's unfortunately really changing.
In which way?
Not in a great way, you know. People are moving in, rent's going way up, and obviously I'm at a point where like I need to live alone. I want to live alone. It's a big dream of mine, so I'm like in this whole
I feel you.
ideology that like I'm gonna make it happen in April.
April, at 32.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll be 30, almost 35 by the time the first time I've ever lived alone in my life.
See? It
So
takes
I
a
get
long
it.
fucking
Takes a long-
time.
Well, it does in 2024.
It's so expensive. It's
exhausting.
It's very exhausting.
Anybody in your family ever say anything to you about that?
about
Just where you are in life, the pacing you're taking to do anything, not having a house or this or that at our age.
no one really, because they know that I do music. I think everyone's like, "Wow, you're alive."
You're still alive.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how it was. I
They've
mean,
just learned to leave you be.
Yeah, I think, sad or not, I think it took my parents a while. I think it took them like seeing some of the projects I've been in like doing well for them to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or like seeing me play in front of like a crowd of like over 5,000 or been like, oh wow, like, okay, you're like
What's
doing
that
it.
like?
It's crazy, man. And now I'm doing like 10,
Wow.
It's like nuts.
Which band?
The Sacred Souls. I play percussion in the Sacred Souls.
Okay, that's
I'm-
awesome.
I'm getting ready for a tour in like a month. Yeah, I'll be gone for a month.
That's amazing.
for a month, gone for a
Where's the
month.
tour going?
It's all over the U.S., parts of Canada, and then we end in Mexico City. And then I'm going to take a week vacation with my girlfriend in Mexico City.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Who needs to go to college?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, depending. If you want to play music, like in the scene, no, you don't need
No. If you want to play at an orchestra or some...
You have to.
if you want to get the gigs.
Literally
Do you
have
know Roy McGrath?
Very well. I love
How did
Roy.
I know?
I love
I could just
Roy.
tell by the way you're
Love
telling your
Roy,
stories
man.
that
I know. I saw
Roy.
him on here. I
love
watched a
Roy,
little bit
too.
of it. I love Roy, man. He's way cooler than me, dude. It's like
He's
OG.
an
He's
interesting
really OG. I'm not even
character,
gonna touch
or
that.
as he would say, an interesting cat.
Yeah, yeah.
his-
His
the-
disposition on life is crazy.
When he told me he was Puerto Rican, I was
he's
like...
Puerto Riqueño. He
Oh,
really
he
is
is.
Puerto Rican
He is.
as fuck.
Yeah, he's just as much as my cousins, except my cousins look nothing like him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it confused me so much. I was like, why do you have a Puerto Rican Spanish accent. I'm like, what is going on? And he told me the
Like,
story.
no, I'm Puerto Rican as hell.
Like, wild, small world. So if you want to just be in bands, like bands, play some gigs, you can drop out in 8th grade. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no rules or criteria for
I tell people all the time, it's just like, you gotta be a good person. You gotta be nice to work with. You gotta know how to problem solve. You gotta be willing to fail and like get embarrassed on stage. I've done that a lot. I've had a lot of years of that. Like, I think.
What's the most? If you think of a really top tier embarrassing moment.
Oh, man. I mean, it'd probably be like, do you remember the Underground Wonder Bar?
Yeah.
Back in the day? Okay. So like, I used to go to like the jams that they'd have. What was it, every Sunday? Right? They'd have the jam that would go till 4 a.m.
Oh, I don't know.
It was like the jazz jam late at night.
I believe it.
Anyways, I used to just think like, oh, okay, it's all coming back to me now. There was a day where I was like, oh, let me like microdose some acid. Not that I even like take drugs anymore, but this is the stage I was at. I think I was 23 or 24. And I show up. It's like some people I know in the band, and they're like, hey, like, come up and play. And I'm playing, and I'm thinking it's all groovy. In reality, I'm probably playing a ton of notes, playing like a little kid, just like not. And I remember it just like got to this ending, and like I was just like, oh yeah, they're all with me. And I just like did some syncopated ending, and no one stopped. No one stopped. And I was just like, yeah. And some of those guys are still around. I think Aaron Day was on guitar, a friend of mine, like all these people.
Do you think it was the acid?
No, it's just me being a fucking idiot and just being 24. And I just have countless, if I really thought about it, I probably have well over like 20 or 30 experiences like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you've played as much as you have, you've been in, you said about 100 different acts, bands,
Probably.
played everything.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you still in Grappler's Horn? Is that still a thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're playing this Sunday, man.
Really?
Yeah, we do Middlebrow every Sunday.
What time?
We do like 7 to 9, or maybe, wait, no, I could be wrong. It could be like 5 to 7 early-ish. It's amazing. Everyone should go. It's really an amazing thing. Middlebrow, so it's Armitage and California. It's this great spot. Make their own pizza, make their own beer, make their own wine. Yeah, it's very chill. I love Grappler's Horn. Oh my God, so much.
Grappler, I'm going to put it in my calendar in case I can make Grappler's Horn Middlebrow.
Middlebrow. You'll find it.
7 to 9.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that Paul from Bora Bora, who played was
Right, I forgot that connection.
Burlington.
Yeah, I
with
totally
you.
forgot about that.
Do you want more
connection.
water?
Actually, yeah, that'd be great.
Actually, do you mind if I just?
Please, that's perfect.
I just
Thank you.
poured a bunch of water in here. So
That's perfect. Thank you, brother.
bada bing.
Boom. Hell
Yeah. We probably know a lot of the same musicians. Are you still rocking Late Nite Laundry? Mm-hmm. How's that going?
It's going great. We're playing. We're opening up for Cat Pack, which
Okay.
is the singer from Moonchild. It's like her crazy project. It's
Okay.
like with some musicians from nowhere. We're opening up for them at the Chop Shop on Friday.
How do you keep track of all the shows?
I don't. I literally
Calendar?
don't.
You just know if it's.
I don't even put a time. I just put a dot, and I know that I'll just literally put a dot. I don't even put the language right. I'll just be like, eh.
You don't know where it's at.
No, and I'll just like look into text messages. I'm very unorganized.
Why don't you just put on the calendar?
Because I just don't work that way. Because for me, if I'm like me and the phone, it's like a ticking time bomb of like depression. Like for sure. Like when I look at this fucking thing, I feel so enraged that I've spent my time looking at this thing. And yeah, putting something in the calendar totally helps me. But I just get to a point where if I don't go right on it and do it, very easy to get distracted on the phone. Something pops up, it's just over for me.
So you don't like phones, eh?
I absolutely hate it.
When did
so
you
much.
first get a smartphone?
Pretty late. I think I was like 24.
I was too.
Yeah.
I got it late too.
Yeah.
I was
think
24.
I held off as hard as I could. And then the second I got it, I was like, damn, this is really useful.
It changed my work life.
And now it's changed into like, boy, I just like, man,
It's difficult.
It's difficult, like, especially the mornings. Like, to me, the mornings are the most sacred time in the day. You grab the day by the balls.
Yeah.
Or you don't.
Yeah.
You decide. And you don't got much time in the morning. Like, you will instantly, if you wake up and look at that fucking time and look at something on Instagram, your day's fucked. I mean, you can save it, but honestly, if you really think about it, it kind of is. Because instead of allowing, like, beauty and whatever you want in your day, it's just all this shit pops up. So now I'm like, even if I have to be up, I'll just try to get my internal clock to wake me up, and I just put that phone in my living room.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm just like, I turn it off.
And what about at night? Like, do not disturb?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like
same.
sleep mode. My phone's on sleep mode constantly.
My phone has been on silent since I was 24 when I got my phone. For 10 years, I've had a
Hell
phone.
yeah.
I'm 34.
It doesn't ring.
I don't answer phone calls. I think I missed yours. I was just texting you to tell you, like, go to the left. I should have just texted you it. And then
It's
texted you
fine.
got it. I was like, I didn't even have to call him. And then I was doing something and I missed your. I didn't even know you called it. I saw it like an hour later. I was like, he'll be here in an hour. It's fine anyway.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really bad with it. My mom gets pissed. I'm like, I don't.
okay.
I didn't want a phone until I was 24.
Yeah.
I resisted for a decade. Everyone had stuff. Same with Instagram. Got it the same year when I was 24.
Yeah.
And I was I didn't want to, but it did help grow a lot and reach a lot of bands
get a
and
lot of
communicate. Yeah, so many bands reach out through that. So many artists. It's how I get people on the podcast. It's how I book this or that.
Right.
It's
right.
amazing, but
Yeah.
requires a lot of discipline. And
Yes.
in February, when I got this phone, I had a nightmare. Oh my God, it was the biggest nightmare ever. But it was actually a blessing.
Yeah.
For 3 months, I was off of Instagram, which essentially made me off of
so
everything.
excited for that.
Because when I got a new phone, the two-step verification codes
Just didn't work.
didn't transfer.
Sick.
And I could.
Well, sick and
It was good
shit.
and bad. It
Like,
made
I
it to where it was
lost.
really hard to book bands for 3-4
yeah.
months
Right.
and promote bands, which helps other bands realize that you exist. So they start reaching out because they see that you're constantly
Right.
like, oh, I saw you worked with my friend. It's just how it works. If
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
put stuff
Snowball
out,
effect.
you kind of start to fall down. And yeah, it was weird. I just didn't go on social media for 3
Yeah.
months. It was a headache. Trying to get a hold of them, that's a whole nother story. But
Right.
Apple, Meta, Google they were not kind. They were
Yeah,
difficult. You couldn't get help from anyone. I eventually got help from a friend I know that's in a band in New York that worked at Facebook and
you're
still
kidding.
knew someone who
That's
worked there
deep.
and
That's
reached out
really
to them.
deep.
I got so otherwise I would never get back on. I'd have to start a new page, lose all of that.
Yeah, see, that stuff's really hard. Like, if I lost that would really suck.
It's sad.
Which is sad.
It is sad.
Same with Spotify.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck you, Spotify, for listening. I know it's going to go on Spotify, so fuck you. First and foremost, I fucking hate you. But
Thanks for giving me shadow ban.
yeah, exactly. But it's like everyone, it's like this thing now where everyone's just like, oh, we'll look at their numbers. I'm like, okay, so what if Spotify just got deleted tomorrow and and all the corruption came out? Because let's be real, they're probably corrupt as shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, then what would it all mean? Nothing.
Nothing.
Literally nothing.
Right.
I know so many bands and projects where you're young, maybe a song does well on Spotify. It's even happened to like bands of mine, and all of a sudden you like see people being like, no. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're not like famous now. You don't have clout. And also it doesn't do anything. And
Yeah.
people like live in this like headspace and you're like, it doesn't mean shit. It really
Yeah.
doesn't. It's important and it's cool when you get like BMI checks. That's a cool thing. That just started happening to me. It's weird.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
weird one. Yeah,
That's
I get like
awesome.
$45 every couple months. Yeah, big fucking whoop. Yeah, real nice for a
Yeah.
song with like almost 1 million streams. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so sad.
oh
You
my
need like 1 billion
God.
to be.
Remember
making,
when
like,
bands would
1,000.
just sell like hundreds of thousands of albums?
Yeah, and they'd make money.
They'd make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they would complain still back then.
Yeah, of course.
They'd be like, the Beatles,
course.
1 for you, or take 19 for you, take 1
Yeah.
for me, or whatever.
Miles Davis would pay musicians in the 80s $100 to play a gig. Guess how much you get paid to play a gig? $100.
Yeah.
Fucking long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Fugazi's $5 method in the
Yeah.
80s for DIY shows. And in 2015,
Still applies.
well, in 2015, I made all the shows I was doing $10 and the
Yeah, yeah.
fest.
Yeah.
I started to see it take off. A lot more places do that about
Right.
9-10 years ago.
Right.
And some people did say something, and I was like, dude, say the Fugazi. And I was like, did you ever hear of inflation?
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago
Yeah.
when like $5 was $5. Now it should be about $17.
Think about your rent. Think about your
Yeah,
rent.
but no band complained because I was able to pay every band $150
course.
at a
And
DIY
that's it.
show.
And that's still shit
yeah,
pay.
that should pay, but at least I got like
Yeah, no,
because 60 people
something.
come, I got $600.
Give them gas.
You know, it's $150
Give me gas.
each. It's better than nothing. But if it was $5,
Oh,
it's
man.
$300. It's $75 each.
Yeah.
It just doubled the money.
Just makes me think about all the tour dogs out there. God, big love to all you tour dogs
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. Jesus Christ.
I love it. When a band comes through to do like a session or just stay the night, a
give
lot
them
of
all
them
you
sleep
can.
here. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I have everything set up. Like I got towels, laundry, this.
right there. The shower's
I
there.
have clips on the ceiling. This is where you hang the towels, and they're always just
Yeah.
like, wow, this is amazing. I'm so grateful. I'm like, I've been in your shoes.
Yeah.
I have all this shit. Might as well
Right.
use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
have
Do
to.
some laundry.
It's so
It's
hard.
amazing to have that when you're touring, because otherwise, who knows what you're sleeping with, sleeping on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, God.
what's the
memories.
worst? What's the craziest place you've slept?
Oh, God. Maybe not crazy, but there was
How about filthy and dangerous? Or it could be
Whoa.
the same one.
Whoa.
Might be the same one, but
Filthy and dangerous. That's not coming to mind, but what's coming to mind is there was a tour where we stayed in Toronto with Late Nite Laundry, which was a good friend, but I think he just didn't have heat or something. And it was just like we were sleeping in the
January. Was it really?
Yeah, we were sleeping in the basement, and I think it was like 30-something degrees. Like,
Oh my God.
it was like we all woke up and we're like, did anyone sleep? And
Just
like,
freezing
no,
and
let's
stiff.
get the fuck out of here. Like, it's no one's fault. It's just like, you got to put people up. But it was like brutal.
Oh.
Just a bunch of shit like that. you
Man,
know.
what's the best one you've had? You ever stay at like some nice hotel?
The
or anything?
best, it was a tour a couple years ago with Late Night again, where we were playing a show in Boston, and our friend Nathan, who is saxophonist here in Chicago, Nathan Ryder, I think I'm saying their last name right, amazing friend of mine. They were like, "Oh my God, your guys' thing fell through in Boston. Here, let me call my mom." And of course, that's always the best. And we pull up to this just like cute ass house in Boston, and like the mom's asleep, like, and the dad's asleep, but we just like walk in, and she's like has notes for us. Here's tea, like here's all this, and we're just like just incredible, just to
That's
like
great.
wake up to like she's making breakfast already. I was like, oh my God, I was like, I hate you so much, Pamela. I love you. I hate you so much that I love you. Like that's a very Italian thing to say, but it's like
That sounds
This
like
is the nicest
Tony
shit.
Soprano.
yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Wow, that's fun. I love it. It does get exhausting, but there is nothing better than just like waking up. Someone make coffee. Everyone's kind of like, everyone equally didn't sleep
best.
the best,
No.
but you're all suffering together, and you're like, where are we gonna get
Best parts
coffee?
of tour.
We gotta get a breakfast sandwich somewhere,
Oh, breakfast sandwiches and coffee
know.
on tour, man. Oh my God.
right?
It's life.
The amount of restaurants you discover of necessity.
Oh
that
my
are gold.
God. Gold mines.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking gold mines, man. Countless. It's incredible.
And
Yeah.
how long you been in Late Night Laundry?
God, I think we're like maybe going on year 6.
Wow,
It's kind of nuts. It's a long time.
is it the longest band you've been in?
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely.
So you've spent a lot of just
Yeah, a lot of stuff that just pops on, pops off year or two, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or like just a lot of hired stuff. Like if we're not doing stuff,
Yeah.
like we're not making money and,
Yeah.
we don't talk. And then they're like, oh, this thing popped up. Here's like $100 again. Like, okay, great. A lot of that.
And how many bands are you currently like playing shows with? Like you said 4 or 5 earlier. Is that
Let's see. Sacred Souls, Late Nite Laundry, Grapperzorn, Lawrence Tome, My Stuff, Nick.
my stuff, Nick?
So
So-
it's like 6 or 7.
So how do you book show? Like how do you play shows? Like what? You've got to have overlaps. A lot of people are seeking Fridays, Saturdays.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of overlays. There's a lot of fucking up.
So you
There's
do a lot of
a
double
lot of
shows.
subbing. I'll do a lot of double shows. I'll do a lot of like this weekend have a gig, and then like I have all these like friends who like do like Latin house DJs, which that's a cool weird little scene to like get in, and because they just want live conga players.
Yeah.
It's a brutal gig, like I think I have. I'm playing at like Pizza Cantina, wherever the hell that is, somewhere. I don't know where that is. Maybe in Pilsen. I have no idea. I'm doing that gig, and it's like 11 to 2. It's a brutal
2 p.m. to
2 a.m. 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's a pretty brutal gig. And, you take a lot of breaks, but those settings are hard for me. It's like, they got the showgirls with the champagne. And I like hate.
totally can't
I just hate. No, of course not. And I sit there and I don't want to overplay and I'm not trying to hurt myself. And like, you kind of like, and playing with DJs, it just can be whatever. But anyways.
No, tell us how you really feel.
It's a good gig. You learn how to do what you need to do for the gig, and you learn how not to overplay.
Okay.
That's number one. That's been
Subtlety. You
my
learn.
big thing
Balance.
this year. Yeah, you learn how to. You don't whack a drum. You play through. You play through it. You don't like. You're not. You can hear it here. That's a slap. Open tone. It's all tension in the hand, and you learn how not to like overplay and overdo it, like I used to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a stage where I'm like, the less you do, the more people groove. Musicality, I don't see drums and percussion not as music. Like it's all music, it's all composition, it's all me playing a song.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. I've never seen numbers. I'm not really a drummer like that. What's the time, the count? I don't fucking know. It grooves.
You don't
Does
pay
it have-
attention to time signature.
Fuck that. No.
There was a Late Night
why?
Laundry
Like,
song that was
like
a non-time
odd
signature,
meter,
I
that whole
think.
concept of odd meter, like once you say it's odd, then it's odd, then it's hard.
Yeah.
Why? Something is it's like, okay, yeah, that's 7, but like, can you sing the doom, and that's all you gotta do. You just sing the clave. It's all clave.
Yeah.
Everything's clave.
I never understood the difficulty of odd time signatures too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's whatever you say.
Gotta get in.
Just play. There's a tempo.
Yeah.
Follow the tempo.
There's a pulse.
Because tempo doesn't care about the time signature.
It's always there.
Yeah. That's what whenever I play a show, I just played one Friday. Whenever we're doing a sound check, I always want the singer to be able to hear themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm next to the drum kit. I just need to be able to hear the drum kit, and nothing else matters.
Exactly.
And I don't even need to hear their rhythm. I just want to hear that, like the tempo they're keeping.
I just need the pulse.
Just need the pulse, and I'm good. I don't need anything else.
There
I
you
don't
go.
need to hear the singer. If my playing was always dedicated to focusing on the singer, then I wouldn't be able to play the wild experimental guitars. I'd be clashing with him.
Yeah.
I'm focused on just tempo, timing.
Yeah, that's it. It's all groove. It's all groove, man. That's all that matters. It's just groove.
So when you communicate and work with other percussionists that have like a ton of training and they're very technical,
Right.
What kind of language do you guys kind of meet on a middle ground with? If you're doing it all based on like feel and just experience.
Are you saying like a teaching situation?
Yeah,
or
that or just like
a
communicating-
mutual yo,
like
let's hang out, play some drums.
No, like maybe working on an album or something more
okay.
technical when they're
Okay.
talking in actual like very strict music theory terms, timing terms, technical terms.
I mean, I'll
What do you know? Have you been in this situation?
yeah, I have, and I'll pretty much break down all their jargon, and I won't acknowledge any of it at all.
Just staring right through them.
Yeah, because it's, let's face it, it's bullshit. And I'm just like, okay,
I want to hear you and Roy talk about this though, because he's like the opposite.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's Puerto Rican, he gets it. It's like, this is clave, this is time, like this is groove, this is what it is, right? It's all based around these simple, but because something's simple, like in the English language, we use the word simple. I think it's misunderstood because our English is really weird like that. Simplicity to me means a great deal of mastery. It means like high level of complexity, and you realize that you don't need any of this, and you cut all the fat out, and then you put this thing. You're like, okay, this simple, perfect groove, But when I've been in those situations, I'm pretty much just like, okay, like I hear what you're saying. So it's just boom to got to goo, right? You know what I mean? Okay, so that's what it is. And there's an extra bar of 5, and you want to call it 9/4. Sure. There's just an extra bar. Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it because
music is really simple. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be that
It
crazy.
should not be.
No. And when I learned some music theory stuff in college, I just took a few classes.
Yeah.
It helped kind of just make a little bit more sense of, it gave some information about what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. And then I kind of learned it. I just really I wanted to learn like key signatures.
Sure.
That's about it.
Yeah.
And after that, when I got into more advanced stuff like voicing and doing inversion stuff, I was tired of it. I just want to know how to tune the instrument, what key I'm in, what notes are in there.
Sure.
Learn my scales. Like I'm done.
Sure.
I'm good after that.
Yeah.
That was for me. I'm not trying to be a teacher in music theory. I'm not trying to be an expert professional. I just wanted to understand what was going on. And I'm glad I did learn it, because now that I learned so much about audio and audio theory, there's a lot of overlapping and connections and similar terminology with music theories.
I mean, that's like me with the guitar right now. Like, I need some of that. But it's also on the flip. Some of the stuff I write, my friends who are amazing guitarists are like, holy shit, I wish I was back at your stage. Because you're like, dude, you're just sitting on one chord. It sounds so fucking good. And your rhythm's so good. I'm like, so I've been like, all right, so I've just been writing them down in my fake tabs. And I have all this like acoustic music and like whatever, Brazilian music and whatever music that I really want to put out. But there's really something to be said about like that first time you're on the instrument. But also on the flip, like I want to be able to like pull up to a session and play guitar.
Yeah.
Because I love guitar. It's like my new love.
That's your new thing?
Yeah.
How long you been doing guitar?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've always had strings around, because it's percussion, right? Yeah. I've always had strings around me, and I've always just like done things, like on all my records and stuff. Like I play all the instruments a lot, or I sample like just like live sessions, and I like.
Do you record your own stuff or be with
I
friends?
do. Yeah, I have The Adventures of Anacleto. Have a bunch of stuff out. I'm putting a record out November 1st, and I have a single coming out October 9th.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have stuff coming out.
We'll promote that. With
Yeah,
this.
please. That'd
That's
be great.
actually perfect timing.
Yeah.
To do this and then do this.
Yeah, I know. It kind of just worked out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And my mind was also like, I'll be on tour with the Sacred Souls, so maybe I should just like put a record out while I'm on tour, because then you can kind of just like promote it a little more.
Yeah.
Looks more potent. Looks cooler.
So when you go on tour, you put all the other bands on freeze. Do you have any other jobs you just like don't do any? You kind of just freelance
at
other
moment,
jobs?
At the moment, yeah, man. I'm a big time. To be honest, for the past 2 months, I haven't even worked. I mean, because I've just been. Well, actually, I had like a weird elbow thing happen. Just like some slight ulnar nerve, like some just tingliness, and I started freaking out because I have this big tour happening. So I think my nerves made it worse than it really was. I've been in PT. I've been really working. Things feel great. I'm fine. But I think I've just been in this place of, all right, I got this really intense thing that's about to happen. Why? It's like the Chicago summer. For anyone listening who does the Chicago summer, like I feel you. Like the Chicago summer for musicians is such a different thing, right? Like you just balls to the wall. It's fun when you're young and you're not doing that a lot. It's really fun, right? You're single. You're having a great time, right? You're going everywhere. But then after a while, you're like, I never enjoy summer. I don't take any time for myself. I'm always hopping around everybody's thing.
For those listening, you're referring to being a musician in Chicago in the summer is
Thank you. Yeah.
the prime time to play like
You
every
make the
day,
most money.
all night.
Yeah, you make the most money.
Right.
Things are happening.
You might have a Monday off or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not.
You're just
exactly.
sprinting everywhere. You
Especially
go to one, you go to the
if
next one.
you are truly trying to do it. That's your main focus.
Yeah, and I refer it as the Chicago Sprint. And this year, I said, no, I'm not doing it. So I lost a lot of gigs. I told people that I cannot. One, for my health. Two, just I didn't want to do it. So I do a residency every Thursday at this bar called Lemon. It's on Grand and Ashland. It's a new bar that my friends opened up. So I do an improvised trio every week. I've been doing that for like 5 months now, 4 or 5 months.
That's
been
awesome.
solid. So yeah, come if anyone's
You
listening.
said Grand
please.
Avenue and Ashland?
Grand and Ashland. Okay. Yeah. Amazing bar. My friends own it.
Is that Wicker
It's like
Park?
technically that's
Bucktown?
Westtown.
Westtown.
Technically.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it, man. I've just been doing that. And I pick up some things here and there. Like at the moment, I don't have rent. So what's this week like? Tomorrow, show every day. Just to get rent.
Oh, the rent money. I
know
thought
what
you
I mean?
meant like I don't have a place to live.
Oh, no. Like, so at the moment I'm really not working. But, when I get back from tour and, I get an influx of cash from tour, but then you get home and there's, at work, right? So, I do like freelance coffee work or I'll pick up like random shit. But it's all music, pretty much.
That's awesome.
And I'm trying to do more. Like I wish I could do more at-home recording. I wish I could do movie scoring. So anyone who hears me, if you have a movie, I'll score it for free first month. Like all that kind of stuff. Like I'm trying to...
Wait, did you say first month?
No, the first movie I do free. I'll score it free.
I thought you said first month really quiet in there. I'll do it for free first month. I was like,
that'd be good. I should have
Sounds like a
done that.
commercial. And they have their little side effects they like to slide in there.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll do it for free for the first
Yeah,
month.
that's hilarious.
I'm currently trying to figure out score stuff for the documentary for the festival that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun doing it yourself. I'm grateful. We were talking earlier, having a space in a city like this that you can record, do sessions, do podcasts.
Changes it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I got lucky. I don't know anyone who just got to move into a place and have that, but it's also because I'm in Bridgeport, not in Wicker Park or Lincoln Square.
Yeah.
Where you get these tiny apartments.
it's
They're all on
impossible.
top of each other. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
And honestly, around here, we have record stores that opened up. First Gear Skate Shop just opened up.
Wow.
A new record store, the Ramova Theater on Halstead and 35th.
Wow.
Stussie's, this new diner.
Wow.
Just restaurant, like every month,
Honestly,
it's building up.
Probably going to look
here.
around here for a place.
Should.
It's like...
It's way cheaper.
It's way nice.
This would be maybe double if I was in like Lincoln Park or like
without a
Uptown or
doubt.
something.
Without a doubt.
It's quite large, and I mean, if I was younger, we would easily have like 3, 4, 5 people living in this place.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Totally.
No, totally. And that's what I did. Like in my apartment, we had 5, and I used to
You
sleep.
had 5 in an apartment.
Yeah, I used to sleep in. It's like a glorified closet. Like the one of those city closets that are like big. They have tall ceilings.
Yeah.
And I made
a pantry
loft.
type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. I made a loft. I put a bed on top. And I had my little workspace. I could fit a drum set. And it's just like, you have some hanging closets. You have the hanging shit.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 3 fucking years. I paid like $250 in rent.
I feel like we're kindred spirits.
Yeah,
I did
man.
the same stuff at my. Every time you say
Got
you did
to.
something, like, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
At my old house, the old DZ, I slept in my front closet, my childhood closet.
There you go.
I called it the best spot in the house because I controlled the circuit breaker and the water main. So I would just pull legitimate pranks, like control
That's
the bloodline of the home,
hilarious.
the water
That's
and the
so
power.
funny.
And it was just this tiny little closet, just had a bed in it. But I had the
Yeah.
whole basement, the whole studio. That's
right.
where I spent my time. And the
Boom.
yard, it was big.
Done.
But I just need a place to sleep. I don't care
That's
what it
it.
is.
Me
Just
too.
a bed that
Me
I
too.
could sleep in that's quiet and dark. I don't care if it's big or small.
I'm literally the same way.
As long as I have these things,
Yeah.
who cares about where I sleep?
Yeah. I'm literally
Yeah,
the
also
same way.
being young and
Yeah.
not.
Totally. Yeah. That's a big part
But it's
of it.
funny, the closet thing, I did that too.
Yeah.
At that moment, I had 9 roommates, but it was a bigger house. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a little
See, we're officially
apartment.
out of the closet, guys.
Yes.
We're
yes.
officially out.
Yes, I've been out of the closet for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to a cabin after that. I lived in a cabin, which was way better. I loved having the cabin.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because I had all these roommates, and they were always complaining about how loud everyone is, and I'm like, I just go back to the cabin. I don't hear
Yeah.
anyone.
Wow, that's amazing. Where was that?
It was so in the old backyard at the DZ where DZ Fest was, which I think you played twice, Late Nite Laundry and Grapper's.
Yeah.
So behind it, there was the DZ clubhouse
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
art tents were.
Right.
Behind that was another cabin I built
Holy
that I
shit.
lived in. It was
Holy
huge.
shit.
It was like 16 by 12 by 16 feet tall. Had a loft.
Dream.
Yeah, I
You
had
built
complete.
it?
Yeah, I built it.
Holy
Had
shit.
complete insulation, drywall,
Dude.
heating, AC.
You're a G.
had Ethernet going back there. I dug it
Whoa.
underground all the way to a 400-foot Ethernet cable for my modem.
You're insane. That's
It was
awesome,
It was
man.
awesome. I had better Netflix connection than my friends did using Wi-Fi.
Honestly, and you know, it's funny that we really are on the same page. Man. It's funny that you mentioned like just a cabin vibe because I love summer, but yesterday, first gray day, and instantly my mood just like, I really just felt really good. And I started just daydreaming about, because everyone wants that space. And I just like started daydreaming about like having a little something somewhere in a forest or something a little secluded where I could just have like Spartan kitchen shit, like wood powered shit, and then just have some electricity for just like a little studio and be able to just like write.
No solar
just-
power.
God,
for
just
the
to be able
studio.
to do that. It's all I want. That's like a really big goal of mine, just be able to figure that out in my life.
You need like
Simplicity, but God, it's hard.
probably like 20 grand.
Yeah.
And it's most of that will be for the land. Probably
100%.
15 grand on land, 5 grand on the
I
building
love how you
materials.
know. You're like, I know.
Yeah. Well, I built that whole cabin. It was like 2 grand I spent on it, and it probably would be like a $20,000 cabin.
That's sick.
But it was just materials. I didn't pay anyone to do anything. I just did it myself.
Whoa.
So yeah, if you can just find a piece of land that you can build on, and they have a water main
Right.
and power going to it,
Right.
You could
Good to
just
go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Follow some of their building codes. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's not as hard as people think.
Wow.
And when people think it's hard, I'm like, do you realize that throughout all of history,
That's what people
our undereducated dads were building all this stuff? Like, you
Yes.
really think it's that hard?
Yeah.
Same thing with directions when people don't know how to get anywhere. It's like
Yeah. Oh,
before
Chicago,
the
it's
phone,
crazy. It's like, come on now. Yeah.
hardest city to travel in
Yeah.
with a perfect grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unlike New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Boston.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Hard as hell.
Paris, Jesus Christ.
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
Mexico
a
City.
Mexico
Oh my
City.
God,
Mexico City was
you're
the
walking
craziest
straight.
city I've ever
You're
seen.
walking straight, and then you look at your map, and you're going the exact opposite cardinal direction you started in. I swear to God, that happened to me multiple times. It was
Old
insane.
cities with that started way before cars.
Yeah,
You know?
and Mexico City, like that's older than old. Right?
Yeah.
Like that is like pre-Azteca. Like those were pre-Hispanic, pre-indigenous cultures that were then took over by the Aztecs and the Incas, and like this shit's old,
It's
man.
it's a wild history.
a wild
it's
history.
sinking, it's on water.
Yeah, it was like Venice, just fucking canals
Yeah.
everywhere. Crazy,
But what a beautiful city.
incredible.
The food and the art.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's stunning. I need to go to more countries.
yeah.
It's just
we all do.
time. Yeah.
We all do. As
Yeah.
Americans, we all do.
It made me realize that the whole stupid American thing, the cliche you get like in Paris, France, rather.
Yeah.
I realized I think it is because I spent a good amount of time there from
Ooh, yeah.
family to random people to tourist stuff, kind of the whole spectrum.
Been to Paris a lot.
No, just like the 10 days I was
see,
there.
I see.
In one day.
I see.
Or in one 10-day
Came to a
sitting,
realization.
we did a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And I realized that the stupid American thing is Americans going to a place expecting it to be like America, so they behave like that.
Yeah.
And it's not that the French people are rude; it's that Americans go there, they see white people,
Right.
and they see it's not that far removed from America.
No.
Same like England too.
No, right.
But so they want to like be
revolution.
American there and
Yeah.
don't want to assimilate in any way.
Yeah,
So it makes the people there like, you guys are so lazy. You don't even want to like try anything different.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
like annoys people. It's like you're gonna come here and just like ask for the same stuff.
Be loud.
And not fall into like our norms because you're American, you don't have to.
Totally.
That's where you get it. It's not that they actually think we're all stupid. Clearly they love of our art and our music and our science.
Yeah.
But it just stems from the ignorance and the self-centeredness a lot of Americans have.
And I feel that, man. And that's funny because when I was in Mexico, I really had a big realization where I used to be really in that camp, like, yeah, just dumb Americans. I don't want to be anything about that, but I am that too.
Yeah.
I was born here. But I also realized, and this was a big one for me, like, it's such a systemic problem. It's not really our fault.
Mm-hmm.
It is and it isn't, but it's not. Like, we don't have the education in place to know about the fucking world.
No, we don't.
We don't learn other
too self-centered.
languages.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, everyone should speak Spanish here, but it's not in our education system. I don't blame anyone for like, oh, I wish. I'm like, you don't have to feel bad that you don't speak the language. Like, you don't have to feel bad. This is such a systemic problem here. And when I go and travel, I used to be really like, fucking Americans, God, it's so blah, blah, blah. I used to be really like, I'm like, wait, that's me. Like, I'm fucking born here, dude. And then it all came clear to me. I was like, I'm not annoyed anymore. I just feel bad because it's no one's fault.
Yeah, it's no one's fault.
How the fuck are you supposed to know?
The only thing that is knowing that when you go somewhere, you don't know what's going on. So at least be a little more quiet and open.
Yeah,
and more humble.
Oh my God.
Like if
Quiet
you don't
thing's
know,
big.
maybe shut your mouth. If you don't know,
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like anyone,
just
any
try
adult
the language.
can
Just
do
try.
that.
Just try. Yeah. Learn some phrases. Just try.
Learn how to order some water. Un
Yeah.
agua mineral,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
just
Agua con gas.
Yeah.
Done.
it's just learn basic stuff and no one the getting embarrassed about speaking a new language. If someone,
It's
if you
an
know,
American thing too.
yeah,
Big American thing.
But if someone's here in America, say they're on Damon and Chicago Avenue, and right, but not too far from where you live, and you're hanging out, and you see them, and they go like, with a foreign accent, and they're just like, United Center. Would you be mad that they didn't say it all properly and go, excuse me, sir, where is the United Center? They go, United Center, they need help. You just point towards it.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
is it? But
here.
are you mad at them for saying just
No,
United?
they tried.
Take that and apply it to yourself when you go to a new country. Just say a little bit more. Don't be mad that you don't know those things. People will be happy to help you. Like,
People are so happy.
You want to go to the Eiffel Tower?
Even in cultures where it doesn't seem like it. Because that's how it was in Brazil for me, where I was like, it just seems like no one's fucking with me. And it's because I had the tentative Midwestern sensibility where I was like, oh, you bought me a beer? Okay, let me buy the next round. And they would be like, no, like, I bought it for you.
Yeah.
You're in my country. I'm taking care of you. Don't fucking, no.
Yeah.
No. And they were like, you can't hang out with us if you're going to be this way. And I wouldn't understand.
You're going to be nice.
I literally wouldn't understand what they meant. And you have to be assertive. Like, even dating there, it's just like, everyone just like, you have to be assertive. Like, it's
really?
Just, you have to be like.
As a man or a woman?
Well,
like,
it's cool there because
in
women have the upper hand in Brazil, which is really cool. Like, men have to kind of be like, and then, women come in. And it's like, I mean, obviously there's sexism everywhere and there's a patriarchal thing. And of course, like, men do fucked up shit, of course. But, it's like, it was really interesting to see. It was just like, but the tentative energy, like I'll make sure, like, none of that. It was just like, and eventually, but towards the end of the trip, like I would just walk in, someone would be like, "Bom dia," I'd just sit down and be like, "Cerveja." You don't even see if they're looking at you. You just yell at them. You say, "I want this," and they're not offended. Like
where do you
where
think
here,
that came
people would be
from?
really offended if you did that.
Where'd that come from? The Midwest thing.
Ooh,
Like, I don't want to eat
Midwest
the last
nice.
slice thing.
Yeah.
My roommate
Oh
gives me,
my God!
he gives me so much
yes,
crap
I don't
about
eat
that.
The last slice thing, yes,
He's
it's
from
so real.
He's from Washington.
Oh, there you
He's
go.
from out
Yeah,
west. So
it's
he
so
gives
real.
me so much crap about that.
It's so
He always
real.
walks in the room. He's like, "Oh, he didn't just eat it in front of us." I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys could sit. You sit. I'll stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, man.
Protestants? Like, where did it come
Right.
from? I don't understand.
I don't
it, 'cause
understand either.
Every
We're all like
country
that.
I've
We're all
been
like
to,
that.
and
Yeah.
anybody from another country
Yeah.
is not like that.
No.
They're all like they tell you how it is.
They
and
just
if they give you
tell you.
something. They don't want anything in return. They're being
Or
generous.
like you ask someone, how are you doing? And they literally say, well, my mom, she just came down with this horrible thing. I'm really concerned. They start talking for like 30 minutes.
You got to
and
put
you're
on that Slavic accent for that one.
Yeah, yeah,
My
exactly.
mother, she came
Yeah,
down. with-
exactly.
And you're just like,
exactly.
oh, okay.
You're like, wow, you can't just ask, how are you doing? Because they're going to tell you how they're doing.
But if they're being hospitable, it's more generous
Yeah.
than any other person in the
they're being real.
Midwest.
They're
It's
being
not
real.
fake.
No.
The Midwest thing could be a little
Oh yeah,
Hey.
and you feel it in
Oh,
the music scene
yeah,
a lot.
don't you know?
Feel it in the music scene a lot.
Do you?
Gotta say, yeah, of course you do. Of
Tell
course
us. Tell us.
you do. Well, it's like, again, not anyone's fault, right? We're talking about, this is my take on the Chicago music scene, right? It's like,
Uh-oh.
there's
Wait, we
not
gotta
a
see the
lot.
time of this.
Oh yeah,
Hot take, Chicago music scene.
there's not a lot of success here, right? It's a finite amount of. It's not L.A. It's not New York, right? That kind of money isn't here. It's only here for really a very few amount of people.
About 30 people.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really have it, like the comparable to LA and New York. So it's no one's fault. Like they're just like, no, you can't come in. You know how hard it was to get this? Like you can't, no, like this, even if we're homies, like we can't do this. And man, like and you feel that it's like this, and everyone will do this Midwest night, like, yeah, man, like you're dope, blah, blah, blah. And we play gigs together, but at the end of the day, like you're not going to be on the record. You're not going to be on that tour. Like you're just not.
What do? How do you circumvent this problem?
Well, you start your own projects. You do your own thing.
Do your own thing.
You try. But honestly, at the moment, I'm in a situation where I'm seeing things with kind of like the veil unfolded. I've never seen what the California money looks like, and this is my first time really seeing all that kind of stuff.
Why? Because the band's from California?
It is band, The Sacred Souls, which, homies, amazing people. I'm not, I'm just talking about the scene in general. And you just see what it's like and how much of a team and how much backing and really how much money is involved. And then I come back to Chicago and I'm just like, oh, it took me a little bit. It was like a couple months of me just not feeling inspired. It felt really hard to like be like, oh yeah, like let me write this record and try to put it out. Like, I don't know. Then you see that stuff, you're like, damn, like there's so much money and there's so much support and clout behind this one thing. And it's not finite. In LA, there's almost an infinite amount of it in a way. No one has to, if they don't like you, they don't like you. And then you just go to the next gig and you can still find a successful gig. In Chicago, you have a falling out with somebody or something happens, like, that's not good. It's a small place. So we have to kind of be Midwest nice about it.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't have so many options. You can't just
can't just like be like, all right, fine, fuck you. Like, I'm good. You gotta just keep on good terms. Not that I have bad terms with really anyone in this city. I love everyone dearly, and I understand why people are like, no, like, dude, I have this thing. Like, I get it. But, yeah, you feel it in the scene. You do feel it in the scene, and it can be really hard to navigate. And I know a lot of people who just get frustrated. They're like, what the hell? I mean, I'm like, man, I feel you, And I got lucky. Like, this band saw me play in Chicago, and they're like, you're dope. What are you doing tomorrow? Empty Bottle, 5 o'clock. I was like, all right, I'll be there.
Wow.
And they're like, we're not going to stay in the music. You got to improvise. I was like, great.
You're like,
yeah. I was
walk
like,
in the park.
yeah, come on, man. Yeah. And that was it. And I played with them. I hung out with some of the members till 7 in. Every time they come into town, the souls would be like, hey, you want to play? Like, cool. Then it turned into like, okay, a sold out Empty Bottle. Then it was like 3 nights sold out at Talia Hall. It's like, okay, next year, almost headlining at Lollapalooza, like a big stage slot. And then it's like, hey,
you did it this year?
Last year.
Wow,
and
how was
like,
that?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's a crazy stage to be on. It's like live on Hulu. You got all this shit happening. But also,
how did it sound?
Horrible.
Right.
Worst sound I've ever had in my
Usually
entire life.
those types of situations, it sounds awful.
And you know what's the funniest part about those kinds of stages too, when it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of people, is that you're so fucking far from the audience, you might as well be playing in your basement. It's really no different. It's like,
you're nowhere near them.
It's like, imagine if you were in your basement and there's just like, it's all windows, and there's just like, I don't know, however many thousand, 10, 20, 30,000 people just like standing over there. That's what it's like.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah. It's a rush because you're still feeling the energy.
It's loud. Yeah.
And that band's cool. There's no in-ears. It's all live.
Wow.
There's no tracks. It's all, they're a band. They're an acoustic band, which is a cool thing about that project, which I love. Yeah, so it's crazy. And, then time goes on. They go, hey, like, we're thinking about buying tour buses. I was like, okay. They're like, well, we want to give you a spot. I was like, oh, great. So now that's where I'm at. And that starts next year. They gave me some fly dates this year, so I did a bunch of fly dates. And, crazy. We did Prospect Park. First time it got canceled, but 9,000 people showed up. We did a makeup show very last minute. This one didn't have NPR backing it. 7,000 people showed up.
Wow.
So it's like, so you're feeling the trajectory of this group where it's not like this, like in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just that. There's no this.
How long have they been a band?
2 years, 3 years.
That's it?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
There's a lot that goes into it, a lot. They some people know people at Daptone. They're close with people. And also my homie Alejandro Garcia, who's the drummer, he's just really an incredible artist. And he really knows how to like procure a vibe, you know? The clothing, the vintage, the whole thing is just like, it's this like period piece thing happening now, and it's done by people like our age, not by people in their 50s and 60s and 40s. It's like the people in their 20s.
Yeah.
And there's something about it, and they write amazing music, man.
Wow.
And it has the backing.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's all you need.
So are you going to do that thing for a bit?
I'm just trying to do all I can.
Yeah.
You know, like I think a lot of people look at me now like, oh man, like you did it. And like, what did I do? What did I do? What are you talking about? What did I do?
There's no guarantees.
There's nothing.
There's no guarantees.
So
in
I'm gonna
life.
go on tour and I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna try to lock in. I have like a lot of the winter just locked in and some spring, so I feel good. But that's not like I don't feel like I reached the mountaintop.
No.
Like no way. Like I want to be able to like do a lot more than that. You know, I want to be able to just like do other creative music, like pull up. Like I want to be able to get off on tour with the Souls and then be like, oh cool, like. Some homie I know was playing like crazy Ethiopian jazz, needs a percussionist, like hop on, boom, do a month. Okay, boom, I'm in Paris. People know I'm there. Cool, I got gigs. Like I'm really trying to, it's not about the like playing with the band.
Yeah.
It's never about
Just
that.
about playing music.
It's about playing music.
Yeah,
It's about
as long
learning.
as you can keep doing
it's about
it.
learning, man. And for me, like I'm a wannabe ethnomusicologist. Like, I want to like, I want to do those trips. I want to go to Nigeria. I want to go to Morocco. I'm going to go to all those places, man. I want to study that music. I need to go to Cuba. That's like, I have to go to Cuba. That's my next one. That's a big one,
That's hard to get to right now, Cuba?
I think it is hard. It's always hard. But I think it's particularly hard right now. But yeah, it's the stuff it's not, it's just like, that's what like advice I could give somebody. It's like, it's like careful what you wish for because you will get it. And like be specific because to me, if I looked at myself now, I would be so pumped. Like younger me would be like, holy shit, dude. But then, the veil gets lifted. You see what it's like and you're like, okay, yeah, this is great. I'm definitely not complaining and I'm very happy, but is this everything I want? No, there's more. It's not like you're like, wow, cool. This is a cool popular thing. I get to play all the cool things I've wanted to do. It's not just that, this is more. And I think that's when like music is your life, because I think a lot of people would be like, oh, great, I did it. I don't feel that way at all, I almost feel the opposite. I almost feel like having these experiences have made me like, damn, like, God, I want to like really learn and I really want to get out there and I really want to play with more people. It almost makes me want to play with more people.
How many of your contemporaries you think have this perspective as far as...
Probably a lot of them.
A lot of them?
Probably a lot.
Or is that just more like because of the circles you find yourself in?
That's a good question. Probably a bit of both. Probably a bit of both, I think, like I have a friend, Brian Sanborn, who's a guitar player, just moved to LA. He, plays guitar for like No Name and Smino and all those people. He was doing all that. And same thing with him. It's just like, gets on tour, does the thing. They're huge tours. No Name's selling out Europe and, doing all that stuff. And he comes home and he's like, all right, well, I'm home. And then people like all of a sudden put like some weight on your name. Like, oh, cool. Like, I'm not going to call. He's good. It's like, no, we need gigs. Like, we get home from tour, we need gigs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like,
it's not this No Name.
Yeah. It's different. Right. It's totally different. So, I don't know. It was a big loop of stuff.
I always just wonder what people's end goal is, why they're doing it. What are they in it for?
Yeah.
Is it for the likes and the plays?
Going back to that cabin, honestly, I'm in for like doing these tours, and I'm trying to spin this tour in a way where like I can just get myself seen as a percussionist, as the musician that I am, and people see me like, oh wow, like here's a great whatever. Like a person who's full of joy. I don't have about music, but I just like their energy. And somehow if that can put me into spaces where I can see the world and break even and like, I can hop off tour. Like for example, I was talking about Yusuf Daves, my friends I made down there in Salvador de Bahia. I was talking to him and a lot of people would assume like, oh yeah, they're making money. Well, in the UK, in Europe, when they tour, they make money. In the US, probably not. And when they're touring in South America, think they're making money? No. What are they doing? They're artists. They're like, I want to be in Salvador before Carnival, so let's book a show. Let's book a tour. I want that in my life. I want to be able to just like, all right, we're going to break even. but I'm gonna be in Bali during like the Holy Week, and I'm gonna learn about all that music, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play these 2 shows, and then we're all just gonna like that's really the goal for me.
So you just want to be able to exist doing what you're doing.
That's it, man. That's it.
Not anything.
And it's
not starved.
It's not
just,
about the fame game. It doesn't exist, because that's the thing. Is the more you think, or when you I don't know, when you don't have a perception of it, right? It's like you think you have this notoriety, you think you have all these things, you think it's growing, but actually it's the opposite. The more that you gain in that, you just more don't know. And you have no idea of where you're at, and you can't even grasp the success you have, because that's the American disposition. You just like keep going. There's no ceiling with that shit, and eventually it's just gonna work yourself to death, and you're not gonna realize all the great shit that's happened to you. And you see it a lot with people who have a lot of success. It's just like, dude, like, you can't see it, but like you did it, And you don't feel it because you can't feel it. There's no feeling of doing it.
No, the feeling does not change.
No.
You still, if you stub your toe, it still hurts. If someone breaks your heart, it still hurts.
Yeah.
If someone dies, it still hurts. If you're sick, you're still sick.
Nothing changes.
The only thing that changes is the experience amongst all that is maybe you're not as stressed about your rent.
Yeah. And you can,
So it's really just a small amount of money.
And you can make a call, and you can like have things, right?
Yeah,
you
there are some pros to
I'm
having.
in Seattle.
Well, think how many cool shows you've been able to see or get on a list just because you're in bands or know
all
people.
the time.
Same, right?
It's crazy.
And that's a lot of money. Think about how many free shows you don't pay for.
I can't remember the last time I paid to go to a show.
Right, it doesn't happen
crazy.
often. It's thousands of dollars a year. So that, and while there, how many times you get to kind of go hang out in the green room, maybe get some free drinks.
Totally.
Like, whatever the spectrum is from cool to awesome at an event like that.
Yeah.
You can't put a price tag on. So sometimes what happens, I've noticed with popularity or notoriety, is you tend to get even more hooked up and free when you don't actually need it because you actually do have the money.
Yes, everything comes free to you.
So it makes no sense. The wealthier someone is, the more hooked up they get, but they already have the money to pay for it. Yeah. And it's a weird system.
That's how tour is. Like, you don't pay for anything. All the food's there for you. You get off the big fucking beautiful bus that has an amazing bed on it and it's so comfortable. And
so that was your first bus tour? You did that already?
I'm about to do my first.
So you've never done a bus tour?
I haven't done a bus tour.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
And and like that's how it is. I'm gonna get off and just be like, okay, like
now what do I do?
Now what do I do? There's a buyout for food. It's like you don't have to.
You actually
go
have
anywhere.
a legitimate rider that they're actually going to like
follow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
What are you going to have on your rider?
Socks.
Socks?
Yeah, just socks.
Just never have socks?
Yeah, they just get destroyed. They just always get destroyed.
You cut your toe?
No, it's just like literally like I just get so much that it's just like there's no point
drummer's
of keeping
foot.
them. Yeah, drummer's foot. Yeah, even playing congas because I play congas in that band.
What's your favorite like percussive instrument? If you had to pick, like out of all the different things, would it be just a normal like 4-piece drum kit?
I don't know if I have
two
because I see them all. I see them all equal. I don't really play favorites, but in terms of like the percussion world, like I definitely like am a conguero. Like congas for me is how I speak. I can speak the most on conga drums and a drum set, sure, but there's two different. They're not different to me. I don't know why.
They're just chimes.
Chimes, yeah.
I know you're a chime guy.
That takes technique too. That's a whole thing. There's a lot of ways to play chimes.
Yeah.
It's not just that. There's a lot of notes there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I never see any distinction. People love to ask me about so you're a drummer, you're a percussionist, what's drum life? I'm like, it's all the same. What are you talking about? Drums and percussion, it's all the same. What do you mean?
Yeah.
The bass drum is a doon doon from West Africa. The high tom is a resemblant of fucking concert toms and you look at the whole drums. It's all conga drums. The floor toms are like cerdos and conga drums. It's all the same.
Where's the snare derived from? Do you know?
The snare
making that sound.
I mean, it was invented in the United States, but where it derives from. I mean, I'm just biased. Like I go straight to like New Orleans and I go straight to like Brazil and I think about like marching. I mean, it really started marching, right? Like military shit. And then, all those classical ideologies go into places where there's slavery and there's mixing, and then they get their hands on it and obviously make it actually what it is, which is funk.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. It's always how it is, right?
Yeah.
Oppression. They get their hands on some of those instruments, and then they do amazing shit with it. Obviously, always.
Have you played in New Orleans?
I've played in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I have. In fact, my first time there, my first time going to a second line, I brought my pandero, and I was in Tremé in the Sunday second line, and these dudes were like, "Dude, please play. Do the Brazilian rhythms over this shit." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah," and it was an amazing experience.
Wow.
It was a really amazing experience. So I did that. I played all three. I played in Sunday second line in New Orleans. I played. It's a whole other thing. Montevideo, the world's most unknown, amazing, beautiful city that every single person should fucking go to.
Where is it?
Montevideo. It's in Uruguay. It's the
Oh.
capital of Uruguay. And they have something called candomblé, not to be confused with candomblé, which is the Afro-Brazilian religion. Candomblé, which is every single Saturday, Sunday, it's their version of carnival music, which is like these drums that look like conga drums with really big bellies and insane rhythms. It's like a crazy mix of, you could almost, it's like, a lot of people like to say it's a mix between like Cuban and Brazilian music, but it's its own thing. And it's insane rhythms. And then I got to play in Brazil. I got to play in a couple parades. I got to play Dia de Iemanjá, which is one of the African deities. I got to play with this group, this Samba School de Jeje, which is like a crazy. I didn't get to play anything crazy, but like I was just playing like the big shakers and stuff. But, like I got to just do that, which is crazy, insane experience.
It sounds like you do want to be like a musicologist.
Oh, I do so badly. I
yeah.
can't go to school and do that. It's insane. Like it's like 20 years of school.
But you can do your own
crazy.
thing. With
Yeah.
the internet, you can do your own blogs,
That's
your own
what I wanna
writing, your
do.
own diaries about this experience.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
my
whatever. You could
that's
do
my
make,
big
make
thing.
a vlog of doing it.
That's my big thing. I
Wait,
think.
hold on.
No, you're good. Please.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
We might have I'm trying to think of the way to put this. A like-minded thing when it comes to musicology and how I want to capture it. I have an idea of where, like, when I went to Mexico City to film and capture bands and show their scene and their art, but in high-quality video and audio,
Hell
like
yeah.
live sessions, but on
Yeah.
location. I want to do that around the world.
You should.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
maybe we could try some ideas together
We should, man.
because you can be in them,
Yeah.
be a part of it, but then you also have the same mindset of the go-getter,
Yeah.
traveling.
And you want to showcase the real shit. you know?
Exactly.
You really
maybe
wanna
someone who
showcase the real
knows
shit.
more about the through lines to figuring out
Yeah.
the real stuff. You know?
Is that's and you just said it, man. That's like I feel like with all of the bullshit put aside, which when I say bullshit, I really just mean like the scene and all that comes with it and all being American, what that means, when all you push it all aside. For me, like I feel like my mission has just been like understanding the roots of music and where it all comes from. And so if I can comprehend that, I can go play in South India and I can like obviously Carnatic music and Hindustani music, that's a whole other alphabet, right? But if you understand some of these core, which that's one of the mothers as well, right? So that's one of the mothers besides Africa, you know? It's like I feel like if you understand these roots and branches, then you're able to like travel along and you see all of these similarities and you just start to like kind of, and that's my big thing. And that's what led me down, the path of like, also just like being a white person and being allowed to be in spaces that are not white and being allowed to play music, which is the highest amount of respect that I could ever be given for me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was just looking at myself. I'm like, all right, I'm a white person. I'm playing all these drums. It all comes from slavery and it all existed through slavery and they all pushed their culture through it, even though they were killed for it and you name it, even worse. And I was just like, man, I really want to know where it all comes from. So that led me down the line of like learning about religious music from Africa that traveled to Brazil, that traveled to Cuba, specifically Cuba for me. I'm like really into Afro-Cuban music and culture. And that's what it's been for me, man. Like, and I just, you learn about the orishas, all the deities that are different names from different Creole cultures in Brazil and Venezuela, everywhere, and Latin, South America, and the Caribbean. And you see all these similarities, and it's crazy. And if you really sit there, and it's a life study. I mean, I'm going to be doing it till I die, but it's like trying to understand these rhythms from these orishas and trying to get a grasp of that. That, for me, is music. That for me is actually doing something and understanding so I can communicate with everybody and we don't have to speak the same language. Because I could be, you know, that's how it was in Brazil. They were just being a little bit, you know, they'd be doing, and I'd be like, oh shit, I know this from all the Cuban stuff that I've been playing, from playing bata, playing Cuban bata.
So that's what got you into Afro-Cuban stuff?
Pretty much. That's pretty much the story. I just kind of felt the guilt, and I was started, and then and then also spirituality too. I just really connected with some of those teachings, and not that I'm like a santero or I'm like initiated in anything, no, but I've been in a lot of those places and ceremonies, and it just all started to like click. I was like, wow, like there's literally like a deity that lives inside the drum called Anya. And you evoke Anya, and that's how people go under possession and go on and become mediums, and that's how they clean you. I told you the story of me being cleaned at the Caboclo ceremony. And you think about that connection and how deep it is. And also, a lot of people be like, oh, it's fucked up, like, you know, you're a white person. But like, no. In those cultures, they don't see it that way. Ifa is not about that. Like, that whole system, it's all about openness. And it's just humanity, baseline humanity.
Yeah.
It's our modern culture that makes me like, oh, that's fucked up, you're there. It's like, it's not. I was allowed in, and I agree with you in one way. But if you look at it deeper and don't just look at it from the outside, you look at what it really means. You learn. So I mean, I could cry thinking about being at the Terreiro, and I met this woman with my friend Salo. Mind you, I don't speak Portuguese, and no one. We're having a tough time, and he takes me to the back of this the Terreiro, which is like the center of like where the church is, and in the back, there's like all these different like shrines for the orishas, and it's crazy beautiful, crazy potent. I'm also in a really dangerous favela, but here's this sanctuary of peace and beauty, and I meet this woman who's 110 years old, who was, God, when was she born? So her parents were slaves, right? And here I am meeting this woman, and you know, talking, and she's healthy as hell, man. She's just talking, and I'm being brought, and I do the whole ceremony, and they, you know, I'm just there. I'm not like partaking. I'm just there, like witnessing, and you clap around, you sing the songs, and it's a beautiful thing. And they feed you, and it's a community center, and everybody comes in, they get fed, and it's just this whole. And no one once was like, "Why are you here?" Like, you know, there's none of that.
No,
not at all.
That's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
It is so annoying.
Yeah.
When you grow up in a mixed situation, like I did,
as you know,
you realize how much of it's made up as far as like what people think of what.
Yeah.
It's about intent.
Yeah.
What is your intention? Are you being an asshole to these people and mocking their culture? I would argue that you being so into the music and the history and respecting it so much is way better than what all the morons the white people in America do to black culture and hip hop and the way they degrade it.
Totally.
The way to degrade systems. And then they have the audacity. And they have the audacity to be mad at someone that actually took the time and effort to learn about it in their country.
And be like, yo.
Go there, take the risk, make real friends there.
Right.
Be invited into that culture. If you've ever been to any other place, any other culture, even if it's in the city of Chicago, but it's another country or another family you don't know, they're going to invite you in and feed you tamales or all of it. Empanadas or masa or whatever.
All of it.
Mole. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't care that you look
they don't have that sensibility.
Are you nice and are you paying attention and having good intention and listening and respectful? No one cares. They don't care.
No.
That's not how it works. It's all about your intent and what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Are you bastardizing the culture?
Right.
Are you mocking it? Are you making a lot of money off of it? Or are you just trying to learn and be a part of it and respect it and like praise it, you know? Like actually like pay homage to it and like, have respect for it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the most beautiful things about technology that we can now do these things.
And obviously I wouldn't know a lot without YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask, how'd you learn all this? I'm like, honestly, man, a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I'd find the elder in Chicago and I'd just pick their brain. And I'd be like, what's good? Like, I'd pull up to, you know, it doesn't happen that much anymore. It's different now. But, you know, I pull up to Humboldt Park Saturday, Sunday. All the Puerto Rican guys, the Cuban dudes, they're all out there playing. I'd be like, yo, what's good? ¿Qué te pasa? Like, what are we playing today? And then be like, no, you're playing it wrong, bro, like this. And that's how you learn.
Yeah, and if you could talk the right amount of shit and you're Hispanic, they love you even more.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not Hispanic and you know how to talk the shit, you're good.
You're good.
Yeah, it's all about making. It is. When I went to Mexico, and they didn't know I was half Mexican, and I went there. They thought I was Jewish.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
Yeah,
and they were like, kind of standoffish.
Yeah.
The bands. I'm working with these bands.
Right.
And then when they found out that I was Mexican and I was
like,
visiting
dude.
family,
Yeah.
they instantly started making fun
They're
of
like,
me.
"Oh." Yeah.
And they were like, do
Yeah.
just goofy gestures with things, if you can only imagine.
Yeah.
Sexual innuendos.
Of course, a lot of sexual innuendos.
But I didn't even
yeah.
know these people, and instantly it got super obnoxious.
Yeah.
But that's like part of that
That's it.
culture. And
Yeah.
me knowing
Rip
that,
on each
it was
other.
funny, and it worked.
Yeah, you got to rip on each other.
Yeah, I got to use the Spanish swear words you learn
Yeah, exactly.
in life.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
Fit right in. But before that, they were kind of like, who is this guy? Just coming in here,
Right.
like, just wanting to record us. We don't even know who this person is.
Yeah, like, what the hell?
Yeah, and then instantly, like, oh, you're good. You're fine.
Totally, man.
Yeah,
It's a big world out there, man.
Especially when they knew the intention. They're like, are you trying to, like, make money off us or something? Like, no,
like,
I'm
this
actually
is for
doing
you.
these
Showcasing
for
this.
free to,
Yeah.
like, promote your scene.
I'm losing
By the
my-
way, the scene there was amazing.
Yeah.
It
so
made me
sick.
realize how small this music world is. Chicago.
Tiny.
It feels so big
Yeah.
when you're coming up through it.
Chicago's fucking tiny.
But then when you like escape it,
Chicago's tiny.
you're like New
there's
York,
there's
New
not
Orleans.
even
There's
close.
200 countries.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
thousands of cities.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
when you
really
get to
crazy.
Asia, I mean, how populated India and China
couldn't
and
even
Thailand,
imagine.
the music.
That'd be such a cultural, that'd be huge culture shock. Because I know I'm gonna go to India at some point, and I'm just thinking about what it'd be like to get off the plane
just get
and to be in Mumbai and just to be like, I would just be, you just
Yeah.
start having a panic attack.
Yeah.
That's like, oh man, it just makes me think about like, like for the first days in Brazil, like going to the market and just being like, holy shit. Like your eyes are just like, oh my God. Like it's just, you really, like my first couple days in Mexico City too.
Yeah.
Like I was so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I feel like I was having an anxiety attack for like the first week.
It's
Of,
insane.
like you just like, holy
just
shit,
the people on
there's
the
so much
streets, the
shit.
kids on the bikes and the
Selling
cars.
everything.
And
Everything.
it's so dangerous. No cops care about anything.
No,
The
no.
dog walkers walking 30 dogs at a time.
Yeah, the dog culture in Mexico is crazy. Yeah.
There's dogs and cats
It's
everywhere.
crazy.
The dogs at night howling.
Yeah,
They do
yeah.
like a roll call every night. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you hear them?
Yeah, oh,
They're
yeah.
howling.
Yeah, it's
The
crazy.
Smells too. It made me grateful for the EPA in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
That's the one. Sometimes I get really, anti-government regulation, and then sometimes I'm
Right.
like, man, thank God you clean our air.
Yeah.
Like, try your best to keep it clean.
Yeah.
I wish other countries,
It's a whole
Did
other
that,
discussion, I know, man.
but like no one does, but like modern countries in Europe
Yeah,
and
yeah.
America.
yeah.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel it when you're in South America. Oh my God, you feel it. Yeah.
I know. And when people are like, I love every country and I appreciate our
Right.
country,
Yeah.
but I do appreciate how much we regulate like safety
Yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
health, as far, well, we don't have good healthcare, but as far as
Right.
what gets put into the air.
Yeah.
But
Not what
'cause-
we eat,
No,
but-
not what we eat.
which
'Cause,
is
when you
actually
go to-
health.
when you go to Paris and you drink a bottle of wine every day and
Yeah.
have bread and
Every
cheese every
day,
day, and you
you
just feel
lose fucking
great.
weight.
I
You
yeah,
lose weight.
I like lost weight,
Shit
felt
clean.
good,
Yeah.
slept well. I was like, didn't get
That's how Italy
hungover.
is. Everyone's
Right,
like,
right.
I don't understand. Like I had pizza every day, and I lost so much weight.
You
Like,
been there
yeah.
often? Italy?
Well, when I was a kid, I'd go a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't been in 11 years, which is really sad.
Oh.
But actually, that's my plan. Is when I finish all this touring, I'm gonna do the solo trip I've been dying to do, which
Your
is
family there?
I have a lot of family there.
You got people to stay with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But for where I'm trying to go, I have like distant family. Like I don't. I'm
What
sorry.
part-
I'm
what part
sorry
are you
for
from?
people who are Northern Italians. I just personally have been there, done that, and I don't ever want to go back.
You're
to
Northern Italian?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you don't look it.
Yeah. We're like my dad's side is from like it's called Spigno Sartunia, and it's like the most southern point of Lazio, and that's where Campania starts. And Campania is like it's like Naples and Capri and the Amalfi Coast and all that beautiful stuff, right? So he's from like this region, and then my mom's side, and then also on like my grandma's side on my dad's side, like they're from Bari, which is like. So like southeastern, very southeastern, and the dialects are based in Greek, and like it's a whole other thing. And then my mom's side's like Neapolitan and Sicilian, so it's like a whole other
Okay.
thing. So
Don't
my
confuse
plan,
'em.
yeah, oh yeah, totally different. And my plan is just to like pull up to Puglia, which is where Bari is, and just like have a tent in my bag and a fucking guitar. And like learn about tumuriata, which is a whole other culture of like tambourine playing that exists over there, and there's incredibly big drums that are obviously we're talking about Arabic music.
Yes.
This is Arabic music that is now in
Yeah.
Italian culture, and I could go on for days about how there's a lot of correlations with I keep talking about like Ifa and those religions. Well, if you look deeper, right, like my grandmother would always have like these shrines and like these things that would like are similar to what I'd see in these African religions, and I would ask her about it. I'd be like, she'd be like, oh well, we were essentially pagans, and we would pray to these gods and all these things. And then you just start to realize that we all come from the same fucking shit. It's the same shit. Same goddess of the ocean has the same colors as the ones that they have in West Africa. Because why? Those people, the Moors and all them immigrated, they all had that shit. It all came up north, up to Italy, and it's all part of it. If I did my, 21andMe, whatever the hell.
23andMe.
Yeah, 23. 21andMe.
chromosomes?
How many you got 21?
He's got 21 chromosomes.
I got 21s, guys.
Explains a lot.
You would find that I'm North African.
Yeah.
And you would find that I'm Arabic.
Yeah.
Look at my beard. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's like every other day I have an Arabic man be like, my friend, your beard is incredible.
I get it a lot too.
It's,
I'm 28% Spanish, and the Moors loved Spain.
Yes, they did.
Morocco, right there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's where you get. I have a little bit of that Northern African,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
If you look
Spanish
if you look
beards.
deeper, man, it's all there. It's all there.
It is. It's quite frustrating. Well, what's funny is you were saying, you've mentioned a few times saying, as a white guy, a white man.
Right.
60 years ago, you're not white.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Let's go back.
Which is
1960.
kind of wild. It's nothing.
You're Italian. They have a lot of words for you.
Right, yeah.
And
That
you're
I still
not
hear
white.
people say nonchalantly is it's so offensive. I can't believe it, man. I went to like, it's like, I'm not going to call this person, I don't know who they were, but like, whatever. We're at like, these people are older, and he's just like, yeah, I have a bunch of like Dago friends. I was like, you can't fucking say that. Like, what the fuck? You can't just say that to me. Like, and I didn't want to fucking like make a thing in the party, but I'm not the person to like keep quiet.
God.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's all perspective.
There's
It's
a
all
lot
perspective.
of those terms, and the white thing. I mean,
Right.
it's weird if you're 100% Italian, you were not considered white.
Right.
What your parents grew up with, and especially your grandparents, they were
Right.
not treated like
No.
Caucasian,
Not at all.
Western, Western European people.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Not at all.
Southern Italians, for sure. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Italy's only been a country for 180-something years, It's had city-states, it had a king. In my grandma's lifetime, it had a fucking king,
Yeah.
They're her parents, they grew up with kings, And it's just like, it's all these fucking city-states, and like, it's so diverse in Italy. You literally go to the next region, you can't understand a thing anyone's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy. Sicilian's its own language. Like, Pugliese its own language. Calabrese its own language. Like, there's little small countries inside Italy. San Marino. It's like a little hillside country. They speak ancient languages.
It's got to be filled with banks or something, right?
yeah.
Only micro countries are
Right.
San Marino,
Yeah.
Monaco,
Oh, yeah. No.
Liechtenstein,
Yeah, they're
Vatican
full
City,
of banks.
Andorra.
Full of banks.
All banks.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
banks.
Yeah.
Every
You
time
could have
you're
your own
like,
country.
"What?"
That's
they're
why.
all banks and have an F1 race. That's how you know they're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
race. You're like, you don't even have. You're the
have your own
size
national
of like
team, like-
downtown Chicago,
Yeah,
and you have your
exactly.
own team and banks
Yeah.
and F1 race. Like what? You got yachts pulling in and
Yeah.
shit
Yeah. It's crazy.
to avoid like port taxes. Oh, it's so filthy.
Yeah, it is.
Europe's an interesting place.
Ooh, it is. And it's getting more interesting by the day.
How so?
I just think that it's going through a lot of, obviously politically, there's a huge in Italy right now, right? Like the prime minister, she literally is a direct political line of Mussolini, directly.
Oh, really?
Yes, directly.
Like daughter?
No, just that political party.
Oh,
Probably a cousin, I'm sure.
I see.
Directly. Fratelli d'Italia party is like fascism 101, right? And that's what's happening over there, right? France, same shit. Like, you look at Germany, same shit. Like, it's all, you're like, damn.
America too. We're having fun right now.
We're having fun. We're having a great time.
Life hasn't been this good.
Yeah, I know. It's really just cause for people to wake up and do something, which can be dangerous and can, but it has to happen.
It reminds me when you were a child,
Yeah.
and you didn't know like the stuff that's going on with politics.
right.
It's always been around,
Yeah.
and your parents were kind of like cool about it. Like,
Yeah.
That's adults. If you
Yeah,
don't
don't
worry
worry
about
about
that,
it.
and you're
Yeah.
like, now I'm like, I totally understand what, because
Yeah.
they're talking. Imagine it's September 11th,
Oh,
2001,
geez,
when you were
yeah.
what, like 9?
Yeah, I was in third grade.
I'm
Like that.
11. I'm in
Yeah.
6th grade.
Right.
Imagine being our age now,
Right.
knowing what we know and how we are. It'd be so terrible.
It would change a lot for me.
But back then, you're like, that's messed up. All right, what do you guys want to play baseball today?
Yeah. Straight up. Straight
know
up.
that
Straight up.
All these people are going to go to war. All these
All
millions of people are
this
going to die the next 20
shit
years for
happened
nothing.
for nothing.
We had no idea, and I was so
And the whole
naive of it.
thing's, there's the facts behind all of it. Don't get me started. It's so like, what the fuck even happened?
Oh my god!
And you can say that for a lot of things that have happened.
Have you watched the what is it called? It's called The Bomb and the Cold War.
I don't think
It's
have.
on Netflix.
Ooh, I'll watch it though, because I
so
like that shit.
Good.
Whoa, cool.
And it's so dark.
Okay.
You'll definitely
I
shed
believe
some
it.
tears.
I believe it. Oh God,
They have some interviews of people like from like bombs, like Hiroshima,
Right.
like a woman like being even talking about it. And
Oh
it was
jeez,
disturbing.
Yeah, when I was a kid, not knowing, I did a research project in first grade on Hiroshima, and my
In first grade,
in first grade,
they let
and my
you do
teacher,
that.
Yeah, my teacher thought I was nuts, and I was just like, and I remember just being in first grade, being like, look what we did. And my classmates in first grade being like, what the fuck? Like, you know, they're doing shit on like Saturn, the rings of Saturn. I did a research project on Hiroshima.
The rings of Saturn.
Because World
They
War
both have atomic energy going on.
because World War II was so prevalent in my life because my grandfather, growing up with my grandfather,
Was
my
he in it?
grandmother. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
my
mine too.
grandfather fought for the Italian army, and he got captured by the Germans when Mussolini fell and was taken as a
I'm so
prisoner
glad
of
my
war.
grandfather didn't fight yours. Just, we'd have problems.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, I know. And
He
it's,
fought in South Pacific.
yeah,
So.
yeah, and it's like, and it's just the shit he went through. I mean, it's crazy. The shit
Did you
my
watch the World
grandmother
War
went
II
through.
documentary on Netflix?
I don't know.
Turning Point.
Oh, I
no,
think
not
I
Turning
have.
Point.
The one
Turning
in
Point.
color, the one I put in color.
The one in color.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. Yeah.
It wasn't Turning Point. Turning Point is
It's
the new one. It's
crazy
called
seeing that stuff in color.
On the Front Lines. It's
Yeah,
called.
I think I've seen it. Yeah, it's been a while.
That was beautiful. There was World War II in color. That's a different
yeah.
one. There's a Hitler one.
Yeah.
On the Front Lines though came out in December. So maybe the last 9 months.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen it then.
Amazing. They
Cool.
remastered all the footage, recolorized it,
Whoa.
added
Oh, it makes
all
it so
authentic
real.
audio because they didn't have audio on these
Right,
on these
right.
8mm cameras.
right.
So they fully work overdubbed,
Whoa.
sound designed the
Wow.
audio.
Wow.
Unless they did have some audio, but if they didn't, they just fabricated it. But it worked
yeah.
perfectly. They timed it.
Whoa, I need to see
colorize it, and it's the first time ever they have footage from every person's perspective.
Wow. See?
Intertwined.
See?
So they have German,
See,
Italian,
there's no-
Canadian,
right,
French,
see.
Chinese, Russian.
That's the way to do it.
It was so cool to see, like, it's disturbing, but to
Yeah, of
see the
course.
Japanese footage of them getting ready to, like, get on ships and what they were doing and their
Yeah.
backstory. Then the
Right.
German stuff with the Italian stuff.
Right.
The Canadian experience of them coming in
Right.
and helping out.
People don't
England.
talk about it a lot.
No.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see, like, the
Yeah.
different footage, the different quality. Some of it looked amazing.
Yeah.
The overdubbing, very dark, very sad. You really get a good idea of how much death happened.
Right.
And how, I don't know how we would ever handle that right now because
It's insane.
I have a student at Columbia. I teach a class at Columbia, and I have a
Yeah, yeah.
student who is from Ukraine, and he fought in the war.
Wow.
And he's after college, he's gonna go back, and he's only like 20 years old, and he has the craziest stories.
I bet, man.
It's been every
Right.
week. I'm just like,
I know, and
can't
you
help
look
but
now-
talk to him, and
No,
he's just
I
like,
know.
he has no problem talking about it, but
Yeah.
he's like, it's all over the place. Some people going into it have zero experience,
Right,
and they
right.
don't know what they're doing. They don't even know how to like shoot a gun.
Right.
And then it's essentially World War I technology all the way up to now technology. They
Right.
have like drones
Right.
coming with bombs, and then people in like a ditch holding a gun backwards and shooting it wrong because they don't even know what they're doing.
Right,
And there's
right.
like rats running around, and like
Right.
World War I.
Right. Jeez.
It's so crazy, and there's just
Jeez.
there are just random kids and volunteers that don't have any money.
Yeah.
He was telling me that what's gotten weird with fighting Russia is now they're just because they're letting everyone die so much, the Russian side,
Right.
that they're just paying random like farmers people a lot of money to just come over. So these
Jeez.
people have no incentive. They don't even want to be there. They're just doing it for money.
Wow.
And they're just like dying like flies, just being mowed down because the government they're just like paying people to go die.
Oh God.
It's so dark.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dark stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
It's scary, man.
It is scary, and I
It's
don't know what
scary.
to do because
None of us know what
what
to
can
do.
what can I do?
Right. I mean,
I try to be a good person here and now.
Right.
What else can I do?
the only thing, it's hard, man. The only thing we can do is we try to like get in there and just make some changes and try to just like get our government to stop funding all of this horrible shit, all these genocides, all this shit that's happening all over the world. It's like,
I feel like you're always
scary.
taught to how to solve a problem when you're a
Right.
kid is like shake hands and make up, like talk to the person.
Right.
On the playground, your mom tells you like,
Right,
"Oh,
yeah.
go talk to them. Be nice. I'm
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
with his mom."
right.
Why can't the leaders just do that?
Yeah.
Why can't they hang out? Maybe do a little mushroom,
I know.
a little drop of some tablets, and
Yeah,
just
I know.
all jokes aside, just sober, have some water, and
Right.
communicate, and like. Can
Yeah.
we stop killing people?
Right.
Like my
We just-
people, your people, our
Yeah.
people, their people, his people, her people. Like,
Yeah.
can we just
I know.
can we like work to figure this out? Because we have the same plan with the same resources.
Yeah.
we
and
can.
they're running out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can coexist.
Yeah, I know.
it's too much corruption. It's the corruption.
It's
the money's lopsided.
It's it.
The money
It's
exists.
too
Same with the music industry.
Right.
Like those 30 people that are doing great in Chicago, it's too
Yeah.
lopsided. They're
It's too
probably doing
lopsided.
too good.
They are.
It's probably like extreme too
They're
good.
so isolated.
A very thin line
They're
of
so
like
isolated.
just making it and then
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah, they're
literally
probably
what it is.
isolated.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. It's wild.
we got to figure out a way to end on a positive note. Positive note is you, without studying music traditionally, have
Right.
been playing around the whole world.
Yeah.
About to do another gig where you're
Yeah.
touring. You said North America, Canada, and
North
Europe?
America, Canada, and then
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah.
So North America, you've been in South America, not just
Right.
Brazil. I'm assuming Argentina,
Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay.
Uruguay,
Yeah.
and you haven't done like Chile, Ecuador, Colombia.
No, I've not.
Ecuador and Colombia. That's
those are on the
Peru.
list.
If I could do Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, it's like
Yeah.
I want to go there so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
The food.
Oh man. Yeah. All of it.
Oh.
Literally all of it. Again, crazy cultures with insane music traditions as well.
Doesn't it make you feel so small too?
Yeah. 100%,
I
man.
remember when I would like,
I feel like I know nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Every
when
time.
when I would drive around America, I'm like this place is so big. I've seen so much, and then
Right.
you go to like another country and another country, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like Mexico seemed like there's 20 million people in this one city. This is
too
more
much.
than New York and Chicago,
So overwhelming.
and that's just one place. You're like this world is so big. There's so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like such a moron sometimes.
Yeah.
Just when I make a mistake or prejudge, I'm like, there's so much going on. There's so
No.
much I don't know.
No. Yeah.
So many religions and governments and people doing good, doing bad. Perspectives.
It's crazy.
How could I think I know anything?
No, we don't. We don't. And that's the first thing with learning. It's just knowing you don't know anything, and you never really will. You just try to like do the best you can and learn with what you got, you know? Like that's me. Like when people are just like, "Yeah, you blah blah blah." I'm like, "No, man. Like I don't understand shit." I'm really always a student and always will be, and like, you know, it's like, I don't know, man. It's been a really interesting few years. It's really crazy, man. It's crazy to have just like things blown open and you see, and then you're like, oh, wow, well, this is great, but actually, I thought it would be really great. And it
Yeah.
is great, and it is really great, but I really actually want more, and I want more of variety. And I
Right. So
wanna
you
see it
wouldn't
all.
want to just be like, say you're making some good money,
Yeah.
enough to live off and maybe like buy a home.
Right.
You wouldn't want to just do like a touring drummer like with like a band forever.
Hell no.
Even if it was like guaranteed money every year.
Hell no.
Right.
Hell no. Like if someone, like for instance, like the country gigs that people get in Nashville, like you get that gig, they don't want to lose people. So when you're not on the road, you get salary, not being home. Like, do I want that gig? Hell no. You know, because then it keeps me, where's the hunger? Where's the, you know, it's like,
The adventure.
I want to be able to like just play with as many situations as possible and just keep it going, man. Keep getting better, you know, like keep understanding, keep knowing where music comes from,
Yeah.
and just like, you know, find community and eventually be able to just like, you know, have that spot, man, have
Yeah.
that cabin, have
I'll
that.
build it for
Yeah,
you.
I know.
You got any
I know,
you got any
God.
building skills?
I have no building skills. You think I would? My grandfather was a fucking bricklayer and like built a bunch of shit, man.
Wait, an Italian bricklayer?
Uh-huh.
No such thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's a thing. It's a thing. But it was cool because my grandfather, because he spent so much time in Argentina, so
yeah.
we grew up with the parrillada in our backyard out of brick, and he had the crane
rotating
Yeah,
the
you
fires,
lower the fucking cast iron grill.
Oh, the
So we grew
steaks.
up just like, you know, he would get good wood. We grew up throwing chestnut shells in there. We grew up doing that.
Man, you almost had some of the best versions of cuisine around the world.
I have had some
Argentinian cuisine, Italian.
Food in Bahia, though.
Nothing comes close.
Nothing will.
Really?
It's incredible, man. It's like taking, because it's all this West African influence and Angola and Bantu and all this stuff. And then you have all this crazy seafood. And then you have all the Portuguese influence. And you have all the Italian influence. You have all this shit. And it's just like, man, the food is fucking incredible. This is and a lot of people be like, oh, yeah, it's going to take you a bit. Like, you're going to, like, you might get sick. No, my body was like, yes.
What about the water?
Water.
You didn't get sick
honestly,
from the water
It's
anymore?
worse in Mexico, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
The water's a lot dirtier in Mexico.
Yeah, I couldn't drink it. Just
Yeah.
water bottles.
Just
Stayed
water
away
bottles,
from
man.
it.
I brushed my teeth with it. I didn't mind brushing my teeth with it.
I did it
was
too.
doing
You spit it out.
Yeah,
Try not
spit
to
it
let it
out.
swallow it. But yeah, I didn't want every
Yeah.
person I know that didn't take it wasn't cautious with it,
Yeah.
paid the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monsumo's Revenge, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I think
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I had some situations where I was definitely like consuming tap water, and I knew it, and I didn't get sick. But I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk.
No, it's not.
That's another thing. You can go to most places and just get some clean drinking water in this country.
Yes, you can.
And not a lot of countries have all of that.
No.
They just don't.
No, they just don't.
They don't. And you also can find public bathrooms that are free here. A lot of countries they charge you for them.
Yeah, man.
And they do.
Ooh, Mexico City, baby.
10 pesos. You want toilet paper?
Toilet
10
paper.
pesos?
I remember literally being in a stall and like everyone is shitting and you just like, you're like, it's gross, but it's just like, oh, here, you need some paper. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it was in Centro. Like,
Yeah.
I met these musicians, dad and son. Oh, and what an amazing, they were just so holistic. You know, the dad was at this used music market that I went to, and I was really deep cut, and I was in this little market, and he's like, no, we'll show you our city. You know, like, I was like, don't you need to make money? He's like, no, I'm teaching my son that we made enough for gas, we made enough for a little food, and we made a little extra, so we're going to leave. We never want to work too much because then you're taking too much from the universe and then you're going to have something bad happen to you. So we're just going to make what we need, and then I'm going to show you the city. I'm going to pay for everything. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pay for shit because no, like they live rough. They live by the airport in Mexico City. They live real rough.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I
That's
had this whole
area.
day with them where they took me around Centro, like the rough-ass places in Centro, like real rough, and just take me all this crazy shit, and I was just like, whoa, and
all these shacks.
oh
and-
my god,
yeah.
like building inside a building, basement across an alley, inside another basement to get like eyeball tacos that are like insanely good. I love that shit. I love Oregon meat. I love all that stuff. I'm a big adventurous eater, so I'm just like,
yeah.
totally down.
I also just will eat anything.
Yeah,
My
I love
rule is, can someone else on this planet eat it? Then without dying?
Yeah,
Then I can
the
do
bugs
it.
were hard for me though. I will say,
I had
bugs
the
bugs
crickets.
hit me hard.
A lot
Yeah.
of crickets. I don't mind bugs. I've-
Chilaquiles? No. Chapulines.
Chapulines. I was like, chilaquiles.
No, chilaquiles. I said chilaquiles. Chapulines. That's funny. It's like, oh.
Chilaquiles, chapulines.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the grasshopper. I don't mind
Grasshopper's
bugs.
good.
I've eaten a lot of bugs.
The ant larva was hard for me. I did not like the
I didn't
ant
do
larva.
ant larva.
I did a lot of ant larva. Not fun. Because it's like, oh, it's like a little egg, and then you just get this like moss flavor. You're like, oh.
I guess you don't really need ant larva.
I think I was on a date too when I had it. It was like hilarious. I was like, oh god, yeah.
Taking out the
Yeah.
little legs of the bugs in your teeth.
Yeah.
But it's fun eating new
It's
food.
fun.
I mean,
It's really fun.
the music, the party, the food, the drinks, that's what makes these countries so fun. The
Yeah, man.
food.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, because we're
Just
so
different
we're so
places.
deprived here.
We're so deprived
We're
here.
so deprived,
The best
man.
food you like here is the food from other places. Like,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah.
much you know we're deprived.
And
We
good-
have some
and
classics.
good
Good
luck,
Italian
man.
beef. It's fun.
Yeah,
but
good luck. It's like you want to get like clean food, like you gotta spend
A lot of money.
$8 a pound on fucking tomatoes. I go to the Amish grocery store right by there, by across the empty
Mm-hmm.
bottle. That's where I go. I live right there, and I have to go to get like essentials, and like it's just like it's crazy the amount of money I spend. I'm just like,
I know, and even that stuff's not the
Greens.
cleanest.
No,
because
it's not.
What soil did it come from?
Exactly.
What ramifications?
What water?
What water? What Monsanto's, herbicides, pesticides? You
Right.
name it. It's seeping in. If it wasn't sprayed, it's still in the ground from the water that
all the
seeped
flooding that's
in.
been happening. Think about all the industrial flooding we've been having and how it's everywhere.
filthy.
It's bad.
Our government needs to subsidize it like they do in France
Yeah,
and
really
invest
badly.
a lot into it because it will bring people here.
No, I will.
You know, and
will.
Paris is the most visited city in the world because
Right.
of wine, cheese, and bread.
Yep.
They subsidize it. It's
Right.
super cheap. They put a lot of money and invest in it, make it clean,
And it's
healthy,
beautiful.
organic.
Yeah.
It tastes
And you feel it when you're there.
amazing.
Same in Italy. It's like they have so many government things protecting everything.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't even try to make bad cheese if you want. You
How
can't.
dare you make
Yeah,
bad
you can't
cheese?
make
in
bad
it.
cheese. You
I want to
can't.
go to Italy so bad.
You should
I
go.
would wreck Italy.
You should go, man.
I have
You
an
should go.
eating problem where I could
You should go.
just go.
'Cause Italy's like, man, Southern Europe's like chill. People are chill.
Yeah.
People aren't like. There's no like. People don't.
No. They always think I'm I don't know, European anyway.
Yeah.
Because I just
Yeah, you look Italian.
I won't speak because I don't know the language, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there, not being obnoxious at all,
People
and they have a lot of
instantly go up to
stripes
you.
on, so they
Yeah,
just
people
instantly
go up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In France, everyone kept thinking I was French. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't speak French at all.
No, I'm just quiet.
And then in Mexico, everyone kept thinking I was Jewish.
Yeah, yeah.
They have like
you live in Polanco? You're like,
they
no,
have
I
a
don't live in
Jewish
Polanco.
population,
Yeah.
Hasidic Jewish
They do.
population. Yeah. When I
Huge.
went there, everyone's like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you
I
live in
was like,
Polanco. Like, no, I do not. I live in Chicago.
oh my God. What?
Yeah, what time is it? I
We've
don't
been
even know.
going? It is 8:12.
Wow.
Just over 2 hours.
Holy shit.
Look at
wow,
that.
we're crushing it.
We
wow.
are crushing
I've never
it.
done this before.
It's been really fun.
really
I've
easy.
learned a lot. You are a
Yeah.
well-traveled person. It's
Thank
really
you, man.
cool.
Thank you,
I
man.
like it. If someone's going to be doing music as much as you are,
Yeah.
playing in all these bands,
Right.
it's amazing I would want them to have that experience you have,
I
that
appreciate
worldly
that, man.
because it just puts so much more validity behind what you're doing.
Yeah, I feel it. Like I just feel like you have to know.
You should,
Well,
but
you
not
don't
everyone has
have
that
to. You don't
yearning that
have
you
to.
have.
You don't have
You
to.
clearly
right?
have a
Like,
curiosity.
people are like really deep into like punk music. Like I don't feel like you have to just like go to Africa and study where the guitar comes from. Like
Where did the Ramones get their lines from? Where in
like,
Africa?
I don't think you have to do that. But I don't know. But if you're playing folkloric music
Yeah.
and you're not of the culture, I do think that it is your duty to really like dive in there. You know?
Mm-hmm. And then if someone ever has anything obnoxious to say to you, you could back it up.
Just
like, listen,
correct them.
it's not
nicely.
like that. Yeah, you
Nicely.
can educate them. If you learn it, you be like, listen,
Yeah.
it's more to it than that. That's a very
Right,
simple
like
way to
people
look
are
at the
just
world.
like, yeah, like Santeria and voodoo, it's all black magic. Not even close. You're
Yeah.
not even close. They celebrate evil spirits with good spirits. Each Orisha has a good and bad side.
Yeah.
And they're also both sexes. They're also multicolored. So what are you saying
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now? Because they're literally teaching unity, which is why they're not allowed. Because it would literally create unity, which is what a lot of people say. And that's why there's a big movement of those religions, people tapping in. Like, I applaud, like, all my, all my African American friends were just like tapping in. I'm like, bro, tap in. Like, tap in. Like, not that I even have the knowledge, but I'm like, go get that knowledge. Like, because, like, it just, you just learn about, you can find some roots, which has been stripped from a lot of people. And
Yeah.
I'm lucky to not have that stripped from me, like, I grew up with strong Italian heritage. I grew up with strong, with a little bit of the Argentinian thing. So I got this like little weird, like, I'll never call myself a Latino because I don't know why. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. 'Cause Argentina, man, it's just kind of like,
It's hardly Latino.
yeah, exactly. It really is. J, big J's. And it's just like, I don't know. But for everyone else, it's like, when you don't have anything you can claim, it's like, especially in this country, like we all, like, it's like, we're all running around with our heads cut off looking for our bodies.
Yeah.
It's like those movies where the head's moving, the horror movies, and you're looking for your body to find roots. But we cut all the land. We raped the land, monoculture. We got rid of Native American culture. What is being American? It's we invented and we put all these, and now we sold off our entire country to corporations that control our politicians, and that's a whole other discussion.
Like our Chicago parking
Right.
money
All
goes
of
to
it.
Saudi Arabia. We don't even get it.
Oh my God.
Did you know that?
I did not fucking know
The
that.
last stupid ass thing that Daly did, where I'm living in Daly Central.
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
Living in,
Straight up, you
living
are.
in Bridgeport.
Oh yeah.
He signed a deal. I think it was for like $1 billion or close to it. For like 95 years, they get to get the revenue for 95 years, and they already made their money back. And it's something like they were losing out on like $90 billion that we would get, or something outrageous. It's like hundreds of billions because it's
Holy shit.
95 years of Chicago
Yeah, think
parking
about
money.
that. No, that's a ton of money.
It is so much money.
Oh my
Same thing with the Skyway. The Skyway is owned by a private company. So all that $10 you pay every time you go on the Skyway on 90, Chicago doesn't get that.
Of course.
Not even Cook County.
Of course.
Not even the government.
And we're corrupt too, so then it's like even more ironic.
Oh, yeah. What was the number? 1,400 or 1,800? I don't know the number. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Aldermen have been in prison since 1979.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We
It's
are
like,
the home of a lot of corruption here, man.
yeah.
It's intense.
We'll have to do another podcast.
Yeah, I'm down. I know it's like we ran out of time.
Yeah.
We just had to keep.
Well, it's just, I don't know.
I'm glad what I did. I plugged some of my music. That was good. I did that.
Yeah,
right?
plug some work, like name some shows you're playing, maybe some routine places. You said you have residencies.
Okay, yeah.
People can find.
Right. So every Thursday, like I said earlier in the podcast, I play at Lemon. It's Grand and Ashland. I'm there 9 to 11. It's an amazing bar. It looks like an expensive cocktail bar. They have $5 handshakes and $2 beers every Thursday.
I love
so
it.
You're allowed to go in and be a musician.
Thank
And we're really trying to cultivate like a music. And it's also like if you're a musician, just send me a DM. Like you can come play. Like I allow musicians to come up and just kind of sit in with the trio. What else I have going on? Yeah, like I was saying, I have a single coming out October 9th, and I have a record coming out November 1st.
And these are your.
And this is my solo music.
What do you play under as your solo music?
A lot of stuff.
Wait, what's your name that you play?
Oh,
under?
sorry. I thought you meant instruments.
No,
Oh,
I
God.
meant your name that you play
It's
under.
under The Adventures of Anacleto, which
Okay.
is my Instagram handle.
Right,
The
okay.
Adventures of Anacleto.
Okay.
God, what else? And yeah, you can see me.
Grappler's
Oren on Sunday. Friday, Late Nite Laundry is playing Chop Shop. We're opening up for Cat Pack, which is the singer from Moonchild. I'm sure a lot of people in neo soul would know. And then you can catch me in most of the major American cities starting October 23rd. I'll be on tour with the Sacred Souls. So come say hi, hit me up. I can get you a guest list spot, maybe. Please hit me up. I'm really trying
to. What Chicago spot are they playing?
We're doing Salt Shed.
Oh, no. What day?
Probably November 2nd. The day after my record comes out, actually.
That's a Saturday.
Yeah, let me know. Come.
I would love to.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, this is why this band's crazy. It'll probably sell out.
Oh, shoot.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're selling out.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
I'm just playing congas. I sing some background vocals.
But they chose you for a reason.
Yeah, and you know what
it is? The work
it's not about,
prove.
and you know what I came to, this is a good, kind of ending thing, because this is a good thing to say. It's like, I used to think, oh, they must have liked something about how I played. No, it has nothing to do with how I play music. It's about joy. It's about joy. So, don't ever, for anyone who doesn't believe that, that can do something for you, that's what it's all about. Don't worry about all this stuff. Just feel. Music's all about being present. And the second we think, we allow society to get in our brain. But it's not. It's those religions I was talking about. It's about being completely present. All those cultures, they don't think. They're just doing. And it's all about reactionary. So for anyone who's listening to this and is like, man, I wish, blah, 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 it's all about joy. The only reason that band asked me to play with them is because they saw me having a great-ass time opening up for them with my friends.
Yeah.
And obviously, I asserted myself. I went backstage. I was like, y'all need a conga player. They're like, well, you're dope. You free tomorrow? And it's as simple as that. You take your opportunity, but it's all about joy. Never forget joy, because it'll take you everywhere.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all that matters.
It's
Ego, all this
good
stuff.
Way to end it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about joy.
It's all about joy.
Love
baby.
what you do.
Yeah, you too, man. You're spreading it too. It's good.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. I
hard.
enjoy the worlds I have found working with musicians and bands and artists and everyone. It's just the coolest people, the most interesting people like yourself. People are just doing this and doing that. They took a risk. They got jumped in Brazil. They're alive still. The story keeps going.
Yeah.
I learn a lot.
Man,
I learned like,
cool
I want to
people
go
on the
here,
podcast. You've had some really cool people
Thank
on the
you.
podcast. You got Albini.
I had Albini.
Amazing, man.
Before
R.I.P.
he passed
Incredible.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was sad. I was
Yeah.
bummed about that. I was like,
Of
man,
course.
I feel like the world needs people like this.
Yeah, it does.
He was very much
I know.
himself.
Yeah, it was.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
But there are people like that.
Yeah.
You're like that. Roy is like that.
Yeah, Roy's the man.
You know his partner Oya?
I don't know if I know. Yeah, no.
Oya's great.
Cool.
Moldovan fiddle player, violinist.
Oh, whoa.
Top tier. Like,
Whoa.
Very,
okay,
very
I think
good.
I've seen her perform and I've just been a fan.
phenomenal,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm a fan. I don't even know her.
She's very
That's
cool.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to. I think Sunday I might be free to come to that show.
You should
to be
come.
honest.
You should come. Everyone should come. Middlebrow, Sunday, Grapplezor. It's an amazing experience.
Alex, thank you for being here.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
my
coming
friend.
on.
This is great.
I'm so happy we did this.
Yeah, I know.
I want to talk again when you're done with your tour. We should do it again.
I'm so down. Please.
Congrats on all these cool shows and
Thank you,
tours. I mean, tour
It all
bus
came from joy. Tour bus is going to be crazy.
comes from joy.
Yeah, it all comes from joy.
So stay positive, be happy, find what you love, and do it. Don't worry about money.
Yeah. It'll come. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, we all got to do what we got to do.
We gotta do.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Big love.
Ciao.
Ciao. Arrivederla.
Beautiful.
Wow, that's great.